Chapter 1203. Activate. From Supremacy Great Desolation's point of view, the Sword of Evil was the weakest among Ningyu's group of four. Although Ningyu and the Dark Emperor were both peak third-grade human sovereigns, they were the five ultimate geniuses. A pinnacle third-grade human sovereign was much more powerful than an ordinary pinnacle eighth-grade human sovereign. Humans picked on the weak and bullied the weak. This was Supremacy Great Desolation's code of conduct. Go! How could Ningyu let the Sword of Evil face Supremacy Great Desolation alone? Supremacy Great Desolation was a ninth-grade human sovereign and had the 10,000 ghost-devouring flag. Under such circumstances, the Sword of Evil probably wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow. Swish! Swish! Hearing Ningyu's words, the Dark Emperor and Danguzi's figures flashed, each sending a powerful attack towards Supremacy Great Desolation. As for Ningyu, he threw the remaining two puppets into the altar. Fight! Just as the puppets were thrown into the altar, Ningyu gritted his teeth, stomped on the ground, and entered the altar. Bang! Bang! Ningyu entered the altar, but Danguzi and the Dark Emperor didn't have it easy. The two of them didn't gain any advantage against Danguzi and were quickly repelled. Pucci! Even the Dark Emperor and Danguzi were repelled. One could imagine how tragic the outcome of the Sword of Evil would be. His body slammed into the wall, the Sword of Evil spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura became very weak. Supremacy Saber Mountain, why didn't you stop Ningyu? Supremacy Great Desolation didn't continue his attack, but said coldly, "That's the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array. Once it's activated, the consequences will be unimaginable." Supremacy Great Desolation was from the Sacred Heaven sect, and he had some understanding of ancient arrays like the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array. Once the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array was activated, its might would be extremely formidable, not to mention the 10,000 ghost-devouring soul flags. Even if he had 100,000 or 1,000,000 ghost-devouring soul flags, it would not be of much use. Haha, don't worry about it. Blade Mountain Venerable One grinned. A powerhouse needs to be the formation to activate the Endless Heaven and Earth formation. Do you think Ningyu is a powerhouse? With Ningyu's peak grade 3 human sovereign cultivation, he'll probably be reduced to ashes the moment the Endless Heaven and Earth array is activated. Rumble. As soon as Saber Mountain Venerable finished speaking, a rumbling sound was heard coming from the altar. Whoosh! Not long after the rumbling sound, a head ejected from the altar. Ningyu! Blade Mountain Venerable smiled wickedly as he looked at the head that flew out. I told you that Ningyu will die a graveless death as long as the Endless Heaven and Earth formation is activated. That being said, why do I feel a little scared? Great Desolation Venerable asked doubtfully. What are you scared of? You have a myriad spirit-devouring flag. Even if Ningyu comes out from the altar, you won't be afraid. Blade Mountain Venerable pouted his lips and said, "Whoosh!" At this moment, another head flew out from the altar. What? Blade Mountain Venerable and Great Desolation Venerable were shocked when they saw the face of the head. That was because the head was exactly the same as the one that flew out earlier. There were no changes. What's going on? Blade Mountain Venerable One was dumbfounded, extremely dumbfounded. Could it be that Ningyu replaced himself with a puppet to activate the Endless Heaven and Earth formation? At this moment, Blade Mountain Venerable seemed to be enlightened and instantly understood what was going on. He had indeed seen the puppets when he entered the secret chamber. However, he did not think much of them. After all, the 3 puppets were only at the peak of the manifestation realm. He was a middle grade 9 human sovereign, so he could kill puppets at the peak of the manifestation realm with a single breath. You're smart. A calm voice resounded from the altar. Whoosh! Shortly after, a figure tore through the void and appeared above the altar. I used 2 puppets to deceive everyone. Now that the Endless Heaven and Earth formation have been activated, the 2 of you won't be able to escape. We won't be able to escape. Saber Mountain Venerable One and Great Wilderness Venerable One looked at each other and noticed disdain in each other's eyes. Ningyu's current strength was still at the peak of the 3rd grade 9 human sovereign. His current strength could not pose any threat to them. Ningyu, stop playing tricks. You're no match for us. Come down here as soon as possible and kowtow to us a few times. Maybe we'll be merciful and spare your worthless life. Great Desolation Venerable and Blade Mountain Venerable said at the same time. Is that so? Ningyu raised the corner of his lips and said, Endless heaven and earth formation, rise. As Ningyu uttered the word, rise, the four surrounding pillars suddenly left the ground. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The four pillars surrounded Ningyu and the altar. A steady stream of energy gushed out from the stone pillar and entered Ningyu's body. Ningyu's aura had also skyrocketed in a short period of time. Fortunately, I had Venerable Spiritual Su's blessing to raise my cultivation to the peak of the 3rd grade 9 human sovereign. My physique has also been strengthened. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to endure the energy of the endless heaven and earth formation. Ningyu rejoiced as he threw the remaining Emperor grade origin crystals into the altar. At the same time, to strengthen his aura, Ningyu took out 10 Xingyang pills and threw them into the altar. What a waste, what a waste. Blade Mountain Venerable and Great Desolation Venerable felt sorry for Ningyu's actions. 10 Xingyang pills had been wasted by Ningyu, so how could they not be furious? After recovering from his anger, Great Desolation Venerable was the first to charge out. 1,000 Ghost Devouring Flag. In order to defeat Ningyu in one move, Great Desolation Venerable even used the 1,000 Ghost Devouring Flag. Where did that piece of trash Venerable Spiritual Su go? Blade Mountain Venerable had wanted to make a move, but when he remembered that Venerable Spiritual Su was still in the dark, he immediately gave up. If Venerable Spiritual Su launched a sneak attack while he was attacking, he wouldn't be far from death. Hee. Ningyu smiled faintly at the incoming flag. He made a grabbing motion with his right hand, and a ball of essence chi instantly formed, clashing head-on with the flag. Chi. The flag and the ball of energy clashed. As expected, the ball of Yuan Chi turned into nothingness, and the flag tore through the void, blasting toward Ningyu. Ningyu, originally, I was planning on having Dan Guzi be the final soul. Who would have thought that you would interfere midway? Since that's the case, I'll have you be the final soul to complete the myriad ghost soul devouring flag. Great Desolation Venerable raised his head proudly. Great Desolation Venerable was extremely confident in the 1,000 ghost devouring flag. Before devouring so many souls, Great Desolation Venerable had already used the 1,000 ghost devouring flag to kill a 9th grade 9 human sovereign. Chapter 1204. Chapter 1204. Chapter 1204b. Trapped Venerable Great Wilderness was right. The myriad ghost devouring soul flag did not disappoint him. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Ningyu and blasted into Ningyu's chest. Bang! The terrifying force that came from his chest caused Ningyu to fall back and crash into one of the stone pillars. Kacha! Ningyu's body slammed into the stone pillar, causing it to shatter. Shio. The stone pillar shattered, and 3 extremely terrifying energies entered Ningyu's body in the blink of an eye. Crackle! With so much energy entering his body, Ningyu's body began to swell. Moreover, in the process of expanding, crackling sounds could be heard from Ningyu's body. The sound grew faster and faster, and in the end, Ningyu spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, Ningyu's aura plummeted to freezing point. Ningyu's sudden change stunned the Great Desolation Sovereign for a moment before he burst into wild laughter. What should I say to you? If you don't have the ability to control the heaven and earth limitless array, then don't try to show off. If you obediently do as I say, then you'll still have a complete corpse. Now it's very likely that you'll die without a burial. The Great Wilderness Reverend looked at Ningyu as though he was looking at a fool and said, I don't even need to do anything. You'll be torn apart by 5 horses and explode. You're too naive. These words came out of Ningyu's mouth without any fluctuations. At this moment, Ningyu was not affected by the drop in his aura. Instead, he said in disdain, Great Desolation Supremacy, Open your eyes wide and watch how I subdue the 10,000 ghost devouring flag. You want to subdue my 1,000 ghost devouring soul flag? Ha ha ha. As if he had just heard the funniest joke in the world, the great wilderness venerable laughed hysterically and said, I'll stand right here and watch. How did you subdue me? How is this possible? Venerable De Huang was dumbfounded. He stood there in a daze, his eyes fixed on Ningyu, who was on top of the altar. Ningyu repeatedly waved his hands, and 3 stone pillars cracked in an instant. Kacha! 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 After the stone pillars split open, 3 terrifying energy fluctuations entered Ningyu's body. As the energy entered his body, Ningyu's aura, which had already dropped to the freezing point, instantly became stronger. The speed at which Ningyu's aura was increasing was clearly beyond the scope of ordinary people's understanding. In just a few seconds, Ningyu's aura became so strong that even Saber Mountain Venerable was afraid of it. We must stop Ningyu, because if this continues, the consequences will be unimaginable. As Ningyu's aura grew stronger, Saber Mountain Venerable became more worried. As long as Ningyu completely refined the energy released by the 3 stone pillars, even if he and Great Wilderness Venerable join hands, they might not be able to subdue Ningyu. Great Wilderness Venerable, I'll help you retrieve the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag. You go kill Pil Guzi and the rest. Saber Mountain Venerable's eyes turned, and he instantly charged towards the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag. Heaven and earth infinite array rise. At this moment, Ningyu suddenly waved his hands, and the surrounding wind and clouds suddenly changed. Several huge stone pillars appeared, trapping Great Wilderness Venerable and Saber Mountain Venerable inside. Of the 16 stone pillars, 8 trapped Saber Mountain Venerable and 8 trapped Great Wilderness Venerable. Damn it! If I had known earlier, I would have killed Ningyu first. Being trapped in the stone pillars, Saber Mountain Venerable and Great Wilderness Venerable were filled with regret. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Both Saber Mountain Venerable and Great Wilderness Venerable were experienced experts, so they quickly calmed down. Their top priority was not to complain, but to think of a way to break the stone pillars, and then think of a way to snatch the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag. No matter what, the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag could not fall into Ningyu's hands. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Saber Mountain Venerable, what you need to do now is to think of a way to break the stone pillars as soon as possible. I'll pay attention to the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag and guarantee that Ningyu will not be able to snatch it away. It was unknown what Great Wilderness Venerable thought of, but he suddenly calmed down. Why are you so confident? Saber Mountain Venerable asked doubtfully. It's not that I'm confident, but look at what Ningyu is doing. Great Wilderness Venerable shook his head and pointed at Ningyu. Swoosh! Hearing that, Saber Mountain Venerable turned his head and looked at Ningyu. Saber Mountain Venerable laughed maniacally when he took a look at it. Ha ha! Saber Mountain Venerable almost choked on his laughter. Although the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag didn't belong to him, he knew how terrifying the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag was. At this moment, Ningyu placed his right hand on the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag and sucked out the soul energy within. Ningyu, you're courting death. The corner of Great Wilderness Venerable's lips rose as he eerily said, I've already erased the memories of the souls within the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag. Right now, they only have one memory, devouring. No matter who it is, it's devouring, devouring, and devouring again. You're really daring to have designs on these souls. The ignorant are truly fearless. Great Wilderness Venerable was relieved. Even he didn't dare to devour the souls within the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag. But a mere pinnacle third-grade sovereign like Ningyu actually dared to do such a reckless thing. In Great Wilderness Venerable's view, Ningyu's death was only a matter of time. Ningyu, you mustn't do that. Dan Guzi also knew how terrifying the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag was. Seeing that Ningyu was devouring the soul energy within the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag, he hurriedly shouted, "The 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag is extremely terrifying. You mustn't do anything stupid." "I know what I'm doing." Ningyu waved his hand and said indifferently. Only Ningyu knew the truth. No one else knew. Ningyu wasn't devouring the souls within the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag, but purifying them. In other words, Ningyu was erasing the memories of the souls within the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag. The 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag was an extremely vicious artifact, so Ningyu naturally wouldn't use it. However, Ningyu wasn't a saint. In any case, the souls within the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag had long since lost their chance of survival. Therefore, Ningyu first purified their souls before using a secret technique to refine the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag into the 10,000 ghost sacred flag. Although the 10,000 ghost sacred flag and 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag only differed by a few words, their power and effects were completely different. If the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag wanted to increase its power, it could only continuously devour souls. If the 10,000 ghost sacred flag wanted to increase its power, it could not only devour souls, but also devour energy. As long as there was enough energy, the 10,000 ghost sacred flag's power would be extremely terrifying. You know what you're doing? Ha ha ha. I think you've lost your mind. Great Wilderness Venerable laughed maniacally. I want to see where you get your confidence from. You can, idiot, you're always laughing. I'll definitely make you laugh to your heart's content later. Ningyu interrupted Great Wilderness Venerable's laughter. Open your eyes and watch how I subdue the 10,000 ghost soul devouring flag. After activating the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array, Ningyu was no longer as afraid of Great Wilderness Venerable and Saber Mountain Venerable. Chapter 1205. You're finished, ha ha ha. Supremacy Great Desolation didn't seem to hear Ningyu's words. I want to see just how you're going to collect my myriad ghost soul devouring flag. No one knew the terror of the myriad ghost soul devouring flag better than Supremacy Great Desolation. Ningyu wanted to collect the myriad ghost soul devouring flag? What a joke. Ningyu, you can't mess around. At this time, Dan Guzzi once more said, before taking the myriad ghost soul devouring flag, I suggest we kill Venerable Great Desolation and Venerable Saber Mountain first. In Pil Guzzi's opinion, since the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array had already been activated, why not kill Supremacy Great Desolation and Saber Mountain Venerable first? Only by killing Supremacy Great Desolation and Saber Mountain Venerable would he be able to collect the myriad ghost soul devouring flag with peace of mind. With Supremacy Great Desolation and Saber Mountain Venerable present, he felt very uneasy. I know what I'm doing. Ningyu said no more and focused on purifying the souls within the myriad ghost soul devouring flag. In truth, Ningyu also wanted to kill Supremacy Great Desolation and Saber Mountain Venerable first. However, as long as the myriad ghost soul devouring flag was not collected, Ningyu wouldn't be able to kill Supremacy Great Desolation and Saber Mountain Venerable. Although Ningyu wasn't afraid of them within the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array, it would be extremely difficult to kill them. After all, Supremacy Great Desolation and Saber Mountain Venerable were both rank 9 mortal sovereigns. Using the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array, Ningyu could only face them head-on. He couldn't kill them. In fact, if the Heaven and Earth Infinite Array ran out of energy, Ningyu might even be killed by Supremacy Great Desolation and Saber Mountain Venerable. The most important thing right now was to collect the myriad ghost soul devouring flag and purify the souls within, turning it into the myriad ghost holy flag. Only then would there be a chance of survival. Saber Mountain Venerable, quickly think of a way to break open the stone pillars. I'll keep an eye on Ningyu for you. Supremacy Great Desolation crosses arms in front of his chest confidently. If there's any problem, contact me immediately. Remember, don't be impulsive. After saying that, Saber Mountain Venerable released his perception and began to study the stone pillar carefully. No, it's too slow. After glancing at Saber Mountain Venerable, Ningyu gave up on purifying the souls inside the flag. According to his purification speed, he would not be able to purify all the souls inside by the time Saber Mountain Venerable broke the stone pillar. What? Why did you stop? Continue. Seeing that Ningyu had stopped, the Venerable of Great Desolation curled his lips and said in disdain, "If you know what's good for you, hurry up and let us out of the stone pillar. Otherwise, I'll let you know why flowers are so red." Idiot! Ning, you cannot be bothered with Venerable De Huang. Instead, he fell in a deep thought. There was a limit to a person's power. There was no way to purify the soul force in the 10,000 ghost devouring soul flag in a short period of time. If there was someone else to help, thinking of this, Ningyu's mind moved and he began to communicate with the sapling and the law of space. The sapling and the law of space were special existences, and they might be able to purify souls very quickly. Buzz! Hearing Ningyu's words, the law of space and the sapling became very excited, and they rushed out of the spatial ring. Block! Ningyu did not want Danguzi and the Venerable of Great Desolation to know about the law of space and the sapling. Thus, with a thought, a layer of white mist appeared around him. What's going on? The white mist was very powerful, and it completely blocked Danguzi and the Venerable of Great Desolation's senses. The Grand Desolation and Pilguzi were both shocked. They had no idea what was going on. Ningyu did not take Venerable Great Desolation and the others' shock to heart. Ningyu was completely stunned by what was happening in front of him. The sapling and the law of space were like hungry wolves. They practically purified 1,000 souls in an instant. Based on this speed, even if the purification speed was a bit slower, they could still purify all the souls in a few dozen minutes. No wonder the sapling and the law of space tried their best to break free from the spatial ring and fly away from the capital when I asked them to locate Saber Mountain and the Venerable of Great Desolation. Ningyu finally understood. The sapling and the law of space were interested in the souls inside the 10,000 ghost devouring soul flag. However, Ningyu did not think too much about it. With the help of the sapling and the law of space, he would soon be able to transform the 10,000 ghost devouring soul flag into the 10,000 ghost sacred flag. When that time came, it would be the death of Saber Mountain and the Crown Prince. Drip, drip. Time was always slipping away unknowingly. Soon, 15 minutes had passed. Within 15 minutes, Saber Mountain Venerable One had almost destroyed all the stone pillars around it. He believed that he would be able to completely destroy the stone pillars in a minute or two. Venerable of Great Desolation, let's attack together. Saber Mountain's eyes turned cold. He poured all the vital energy in his sea of consciousness in his palm and punched the nearest stone pillar. All right. Venerable of Great Desolation knew that the time was right. He also poured his vital energy into his fist and punched the nearest stone pillar. Crack, crack. Two crisp sounds were heard consecutively. The two stone pillars closest to Venerable of Great Desolation and Saber Mountain were completely smashed. Crack, crack. Venerable of Great Desolation and the rest punched several more times and smashed the remaining stone pillars. Ha ha ha. After all the stone pillars were smashed, Venerable of Great Desolation's signature maniacal laughter reverberated in the infinite heaven and earth array. Ningyu, stop hiding. Come out, and let me see if you've subdued my 10,000 ghost-devouring soul flag. Venerable of Great Desolation was in a great mood. Initially, he was a little worried when he was trapped by the stone pillars. Who would have thought that Ningyu would foolishly try to subdue the 10,000 ghost-devouring soul flag? Now that the 10,000 ghost-devouring soul flag was not subdued, they were able to successfully escape. Whoosh! At this moment, Ningyu flicked his wrist, and the white mist instantly disappeared. Oh, you're quite capable to be able to subdue my 10,000 ghost-devouring soul flag. Venerable of Great Desolation raised his brows when he saw the 10,000 ghost-devouring soul flag in Ningyu's hand. Toss it over. I promise you that as long as you toss the 10,000 ghost-devouring soul flag over, I'll let you die peacefully. Why are you wasting your breath on him? In comparison, Saber Mountain Venerable wasn't that easy to talk to. He took a step forward and unleashed his aura, which pressed towards Ningyu in a frenzy. Ningyu, I, Saber Mountain Venerable, will make my words clear today. No one in this world can save you. Saber Mountain Venerable was domineering to the extreme. In fact, Saber Mountain Venerable was also very sullen. He was a 9th grade middle human supreme, yet he was fooled by Ningyu. It would be fine if Ningyu was a 9th grade middle human supreme, but Ningyu is only a 3rd grade pinnacle human supreme. If news of him being toyed with by a 3rd grade pinnacle human supreme reached the Alchemy Union headquarters, where would he put his anger? Therefore, in Saber Mountain Venerable's heart, not only did Ningyu have to die today, but everyone present had to die as well. Chapter 1206. Kill 1. Saber Mountain Venerable, don't be in such a rush. In any case, we have plenty of time. Let's play with them first, and then kill them when we're done. Venerable Great Desolation seemed to have found his confidence. He first spoke to Saber Mountain Venerable, then turned to Ningyu. Ningyu, I advise you to hurry up and hand over the myriad ghost-devouring flag. Once I take action, you won't be able to live. Here. Ningyu seemed to be moved by Venerable Great Desolation's words. With a flick of his wrist, he tossed the myriad ghost-devouring flag to Venerable Great Desolation. It's over, it's all over. Ningyu's actions caused the Sword of Evil and Danguzi to have the same thought. Although they were within the endless heaven and earth formation, they had basically lost any chance of killing Venerable Great Desolation and the others. If this dragged on and they ran out of sovereign grade origin crystals, they would become lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Just what was going on? This time, even the Dark Emperor was a bit confused. Just what was going on with Ningyu? Why had he given up on the chance to trap Venerable Great Desolation and the others, and instead chose to subdue the myriad ghost-devouring flag? But now, not only had he failed to subdue the myriad ghost-devouring flag, he had even put himself in extreme danger. Saber Mountain Venerable, leave Ningyu to me. In any case, your target is Danguzi. Smiling at Saber Mountain Venerable, Venerable Great Desolation stomped on the ground, and his body shot forward. Venerable Da Huang's target was the 1,000 ghost-devouring flag. Everyone knew that as long as Venerable Da Huang obtained the 1,000 ghost-devouring soul flag, it would be Ningyu's death. I'll let you show off for a while. Saber Mountain Venerable's eyes flashed viciously, and he tore through the void, charging at Danguzi. Bang! Saber Mountain Venerable's attack was vicious, and he sent Danguzi flying with a single blow, sending him crashing into the barrier of the endless heaven and earth formation. Bang! Bang! Following that, Saber Mountain Venerable punched Evil Sword Venerable 2 more times. One of his punches landed on Evil Sword Venerable's chest, while the other hit the Dark Emperor's back. Even a grade 9 human sovereign like Danguzi couldn't block Blade Mountain Venerable's attack, let alone the Sword of Evil and the Dark Emperor. Despite that, the Sword of Evil and the Dark Emperor were not killed because Saber Mountain Venerable chose to hold back. Saber Mountain Venerable could tell that the Dark Emperor was a purple gold sky devouring hound. He wanted to use the Dark Emperor to lure out as many purple gold sky devouring hounds as possible. In the eyes of a peak 8th grade alchemist, the heaven-swallowing hound was an excellent ingredient for refining elixirs. At this moment, a blood-curdling scream like that of a pig being slaughtered came from the side. Whoosh! Upon hearing that, Blade Mountain Venerable immediately turned around. I can't believe it. Saber Mountain Venerable could not help but curse when he saw what was happening. Terrifying. It was too terrifying. At this moment, Venerable Great Desolation's body was expanding and becoming bigger and bigger. In a short period of time, the Great Wilderness Venerable had expanded several times. Rumble. When the Great Wilderness Venerable's body expanded to the limit, he naturally self-destructed. Come here. Ningyu reacted swiftly and immediately controlled the heavenly earth array to pull the Dark Emperor and the rest over. Block. At the same time, Ningyu activated the Myriad Ghosts Devouring Soul Flag. No, it should be called the Myriad Ghosts Sacred Flag. Ningyu activated the Myriad Ghosts Sacred Flag to form the first layer of defense around him. After the first layer of defense was formed, Ningyu was still not assured. Thus, he threw a few Shenyang pellets into the altar and formed the second layer of defense with the help of the Heavenly Earth Array. Whoosh! Venerable Great Desolation was a 9th-grade human sovereign, so the aftermath of his self-destruction was extremely terrifying. Countless aftershocks spread out from the location of Venerable Great Desolation's self-destruction. Damn it! Damn it! The sudden change made Saber Mountain Venerable have the urge to curse. He had hundreds of questions in his heart. What happened? How did Venerable Great Desolation die? Why did Venerable Great Desolation self-destruct? All sorts of questions rose in Saber Mountain Venerable's mind, but he couldn't find an explanation. Helplessly, Saber Mountain Venerable could only suppress the questions in his mind and summoned all the energy and soul energy in his body to form 2 layers of defense around him. The first layer of defense was formed with energy. The second layer of defense was formed with soul energy. Crack! Evidently, the energy layer did not last long before it was destroyed by the aftershocks of Venerable Great Desolation's self-destruction. Saber Mountain Venerable was extremely worried. If the second layer of protection was broken through, he would be in grave danger. With such a powerful self-destruction, there's no way Ningyu and the rest can survive. It's a pity for my Shenyang pellets and Myriad Ghosts Devouring Soul Flag. At this moment, Saber Mountain Venerable was still thinking about the Shenyang pellets and Myriad Ghosts Devouring Soul Flag. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The aftershocks of Venerable Great Desolation's self-destruction came wave after wave. Fortunately, Venerable Great Desolation had self-destructed within the infinite heaven and earth formation. Otherwise, the entire Great Xia Kingdom's capital might have been affected. After all, the self-destruction of a grade 9 human supreme was terrifying to the point that it could instantly destroy the entire Great Xia Kingdom's capital. Damn it, it's not enough. At the same time, Ningyu's expression was extremely ugly. The first line of defense, constructed by the 10,000 Spirits Sacred Flag, was quickly destroyed by the aftershocks of Venerable Great Desolation's self-destruction. The first line of defense had been destroyed. The only thing they could do now was to rely on the second line of defense, which was the energy gushing out from the infinite heaven and earth formation's sacrificial altar. Go in. Helpless, Ningyu could only take out a few more Shenyang pellets and throw them into the sacrificial altar. With the replenishment of the Shenyang pellets, the energy gushing out from the sacrificial altar became more stable and would not be destroyed in an instant. Drip. Time flew by. Unknowingly, the aftershocks of Venerable Great Desolation's self-destruction were like a bottomless pit that was endless. Half an hour had passed since Venerable Great Wilderness self-detonated. The aftermath of Venerable Great Wilderness self-detonation had yet to dissipate completely. In this half an hour, Ningyu had used up dozens of Shenyang pellets and all the Emperor Great Essence crystals he had on him. Now, Ningyu had less than 20 Shenyang pellets on him. 18 of them. Ningyu only had 18 Shenyang pellets on him. Furthermore, Ningyu could not use these 18 Shenyang pellets to defend against the aftershocks of Venerable Great Desolation's self-destruction. He wanted to use the 18 Shenyang pellets and the infinite heaven and earth formation to increase his combat power in a short period of time to fight against Saber Mountain Venerable. Because Ningyu was in charge of the infinite heaven and earth formation, he could tell that Saber Mountain Venerable was fine. It was just that his Yuan Qi was slightly depleted. Rumble. Another few minutes passed. The aftershocks of Venerable Great Desolation's self-destruction finally dissipated completely. Phew. As the aftershocks dissipated, Ningyu and Saber Mountain Venerable heaved a sigh of relief in unison. The worries in their hearts had lessened significantly. Ningyu was thankful that he had 18 Shenyang pellets left. Saber Mountain Venerable was thankful that he had 90% of his combat power left. To the both of them, the self-destruction of Venerable Great Desolation was acceptable. Chapter 1207. Red Striped Sword. Ningyu, I'm curious. Why did Reverend Great Desolation suddenly explode? Is it related to your 10,000 ghost devouring flag? When everything was settled, Venerable Mountain's eyes shone with a terrifying light. He stared at the 1,000 ghost devouring flag in Ningyu's hand and asked in confusion. Wrong. Ningyu shook his head and said, This isn't the myriad ghost devouring flag. It's the myriad ghost sacred flag. 1,000 ghost sacred flag? Saber Mountain Venerable was dumbfounded. He knew about the 10,000 ghost devouring soul flag. It was an extremely vicious magic treasure. But what the hell was the 10,000 ghosts holy flag? He had roamed the continent for so many years, but he had never heard of the existence of the 10,000 ghosts sacred flag. Could it be that Ningyu was already at the end of his tether and was stalling for time? With that thought, Saber Mountain Venerable added, I don't care if it's the 10,000 soul-devouring flag or the 10,000 spirit sacred flag. Firstly, why would the great wilderness Venerable self-destruct? Secondly, throw the flag in your hand over. Ningyu, if I'm not wrong, you're already at the end of your rope. I'm already being extremely benevolent by not killing you right away. If that's the case, do I have to be grateful to you? Ningyu shrugged and said, Since you've asked me so sincerely, I'll reluctantly tell you that the Great Desolation Venerable had self-destructed because of the 10,000 spirits sacred flag. Ningyu then waved the 10,000 holy flag in his hand and continued, The Great Wilderness Venerable wants to use the 10,000 holy flag against me. But little did he know that I've already subdued the 10,000 Holy Spirit devouring flag and purified the souls inside. The current 10,000 ghost sacred flag is much more powerful than before. Impossible. Saber Mountain Venerable widened his eyes and exclaimed, The 10,000 soul-devouring ghost flag contains 10,000 martial artist souls. Even if you started purifying them 3 days ago, it's impossible for you to purify them completely. Believe it or not, what does it have to do with me? Ningyu twitched his mouth and said to the Dark Emperor and the others, Leave the endless heaven and earth formation first. I'd like to communicate with Saber Mountain Venerable. Leave? Saber Mountain Venerable said proudly. Without my permission, no one is allowed to leave the endless heaven and earth array. If I want them to leave, what can you do about it? Ningyu's face was expressionless as he waved his hands, causing the space around him to split open. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The Dark Emperor, the Sword of Evil, and Danguzi knew that they wouldn't be able to help Ningyu if they stayed, so they all disappeared into spatial tears. This is infuriating. Saber Mountain Venerable gritted his teeth when he saw the Dark Emperor and the others leaving. Ningyu was clearly not giving him face. Initially, he had planned to have a good talk with Ningyu and only make his move after he had tricked the 10,000 ghost sacred flag over. From the looks of it now, it was completely unnecessary. Stubborn people must die. Soul attack. With a thought, Saber Mountain Venerable directly launched a soul attack at Ningyu. In terms of soul attack, Saber Mountain Venerable was very experienced. After all, his soul power was at the pinnacle of Grade 8, while Ningyu's soul power was only at the intermediate Grade 7. No. When did Ningyu's soul power advance to the pinnacle of Grade 7? Saber Mountain Venerable's expression changed. He was very shocked. It's not good to be distracted now. Ningyu waved his hands and instantly sent out several palm prints. Universe Palm. Although Ningyu hadn't cultivated the Universe Palm to the extreme, it was still more than enough to deal with Saber Mountain Venerable, who was distracted. TSK, TSK. The palm prints and Saber Mountain Venerable's soul attack collided and quickly disappeared. Whoosh. Following that, Ningyu waved his palms again and sent out several palm prints toward Saber Mountain Venerable. Oh no! Saber Mountain Venerable was indeed a middle grade 9 supreme as he reacted very quickly. The palm prints that Ningyu sent out seemed powerful on the surface, but to Saber Mountain Venerable, they were very ordinary. The reason why he was attacked by Ningyu earlier was because of his carelessness. Now that he was focused, Ningyu wouldn't stand a chance against him anymore. All of you get in. Seeing that Saber Mountain Venerable and his palm prints came into contact, Ningyu hurriedly threw the remaining 18 Shenyang pills into the altar. At the same time, he began to control the infinite heaven and earth formation. Boom! As soon as the 18 Shenyang pills entered the altar, it exploded. Along with the explosion, a terrifying energy shot out from the altar and entered Ningyu's body. To begin with, Ningyu's aura wasn't too weak. Now that so much energy had entered his body, Ningyu's aura started to rise crazily. In a short period of time, Ningyu's aura had been strengthened to the limit. The 18 Shenyang pills and the energy contained in the infinite heaven and earth formation allowed Ningyu to strengthen his aura to a level that even Saber Mountain Venerable was afraid of. Damn it! With a flick of his sleeves, several cold flashes flew out and shattered the palm prints that Ningyu had sent out. After shattering the palm prints, Saber Mountain Venerable felt the terrifying aura that Ningyu was emitting, and his face turned extremely ugly. To be honest, Saber Mountain Venerable had not expected this situation at the start. Now that Venerable Great Wilderness was forced to self-destruct, he wasn't very optimistic. Within the infinite heaven and earth formation, he wasn't 100% confident that he could kill Ningyu. Most importantly, he didn't know when Supremacy Spiritual Su would fully recover. Once Supremacy Spiritual Su recovered, Saber Mountain Venerable would be doomed eternally. I must kill Ningyu as soon as possible and think of a way to control the infinite heaven and earth formation. At that moment, Saber Mountain Venerable only had one thought in his mind: kill Ningyu and control the formation. That was the only way he could leave the Great Xia Kingdom successfully and be safe. Apart from Ningyu, Supremacy Spiritual Su wasn't someone to be trifled with either. Saber Mountain Venerable, I'll give you a chance now. At that moment, Ningyu's lips curled into an arc. Kneel down and kowtow to me 10 times, and I'll consider sparing your life. You want to kill me? Saber Mountain Venerable pointed at his nose and said coldly, even if your aura has been strengthened to this extent, you're still not my match. With that, Saber Mountain Venerable charged at Ningyu like a madman. Go! Looking at the approaching Saber Mountain Venerable, Ningyu flicked his finger. In an instant, the 10,000 spirits' sacred flag flew out and clashed with Saber Mountain Venerable. Rumble. Souls kept flying out of the 10,000 spirits' sacred flag, pressuring Saber Mountain Venerable. Although the souls in the 10,000 spirits' sacred flag were very weak and were not Saber Mountain Venerable's match in a one-on-one fight, there were many souls in the flag, and Saber Mountain Venerable could win with numbers. When hundreds or thousands of souls attacked at the same time, the power was still great. Even a middle grade 9 Supreme, like Saber Mountain Venerable, found it troublesome. Ningyu, you forced me to do this. Saber Mountain Venerable knew that he couldn't repel so many souls within a short period of time, so he gritted his teeth and took out a flying sword. Red patterned sword. Chapter 1208. Rise. Royal Superior Grade Flying Sword. Ningyu's expression changed when he saw the flying sword that Saber Mountain Venerable took out. He immediately wanted to retrieve the 10,000 Ghosts Sacred Flag. He had yet to completely refine the 10,000 Ghosts Sacred Flag, so he could not unleash its peak power. In other words, the 10,000 Ghosts Sacred Flag could only unleash 50% of its peak power. To unleash 100% of its power, Ningyu had to be given enough time to completely refine the 10,000 Ghosts Sacred Flag. You're only retrieving the 10,000 Ghosts Devouring Flag now. Don't you think it's a little too late? Saber Mountain Venerable smirked and waved the Scarlet Rune sword in his hand. Whoosh! The Scarlet Rune sword was a Royal Superior Grade flying sword. In addition to the fact that Saber Mountain Venerable was a middle grade 9th grade Supreme, he could unleash 100% of the Scarlet Runesword's power. 100% of the Scarlet Runesword's power was extremely terrifying. Saber Mountain Venerable had used the Scarlet Runesword to kill a middle-grade 9th grade Supreme in the past, so it was more than enough to deal with Ningyu now. Several sword rays shot out and charged at Ningyu. Swish, swish, swish. Facing so many sword lights, Ningyu unleashed his perception and combined it with the spatial law's warning, trying his best to dodge. Although Saber Mountain Venerable attacked with many sword rays, it was difficult for him to hit Ningyu. Ningyu dodged the attacks of more than 10 sword rays very quickly. Furthermore, Ningyu did not seem to be struggling at all. In fact, he seemed to be doing it with ease. Saber Mountain Venerable, if this is all you're capable of, then I'm sorry to tell you that you'll definitely die today. Ningyu took out a Shenyang pill and popped it into his mouth after dodging Saber Mountain Venerable's sword rays. The show has only just begun. Saber Mountain Venerable was a veteran powerhouse, so how could he be frightened by Ningyu? He waved the Scarlet Rune sword in his hand, and dozens of sword rays flew out in an instant, trapping Ningyu in the middle. I really want to see what kind of show there is. Ningyu's face was expressionless as he said, I have to remind you that Sage Spirit Su has long recovered. The reason why he didn't make a move was because he didn't think much of you. Venerable Master Lingshu is a coward. If he dares to come out, I'll make sure he dies without a burial place. Venerable Saber Mountain said proudly. You even want to kill revered spiritual Su? Ningyu looked at Venerable Saber Mountain as if he was looking at a fool and said in disdain, Venerable spiritual Su is the same as you, a middle phase 9th grade sovereign. What makes you think that you can kill him? Why? Because of my Scarlet Rune Sword. Saber Mountain Venerable waved the red rune sword in his hand and said, the red rune sword is a superior royal rank flying sword. I don't believe that trash Venerable Master Ling Su has a superior royal rank flying sword. Saber Mountain Venerable was so sure because he knew better than anyone else how fearsome a high monarch flying sword was. He was a middle phase 9th grade sovereign, and coupled with a superior royal rank flying sword, he was practically invincible among those of the same rank. Furthermore, Saber Mountain Venerable did not believe that Venerable Master Ling Su could recover so quickly. You're worried. At this moment, Ningyu's words rang in Saber Mountain Venerable's ears. Nonsense. Why would I be worried? Saber Mountain Venerable rebuked with uneasiness flashing across his eyes. Haha. Although the Scarlet Rune Sword in your hand is a superior royal rank flying sword, it's incomplete and has many flaws. With a smile, Ningyu continued, at its peak, the Scarlet Rune Sword is indeed a superior royal rank flying sword, and it's very powerful. However, the Scarlet Rune Sword in your hand has already been damaged, and you'll need to consume your blood essence to unleash its fighting strength. Otherwise, with your cultivation as a middle phase 9th grade sovereign and your superior royal rank Scarlet Rune Sword, you can kill me effortlessly. Why are you dawdling here? Dawdling here means that you're feeling guilty, which means that you're not confident in killing me or dealing with Venerable Spiritual Su. You're afraid. Rumble. Every word that Ningyu said sounded like thunderbolts from the 9 heavens in Saber Mountain Venerable One's mind, causing him to be extremely shocked. Nonsense. You're spouting nonsense. Saber Mountain Venerable said fiercely, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. As soon as the word you fell, Saber Mountain Venerable tore through the void with his Scarlet Rune Sword and appeared before Ningyu in an instant, slashing down with his sword. Block. Although Ningyu looked down on Saber Mountain Venerable verbally, his actions showed that he valued Saber Mountain Venerable. With a thought, Ningyu took out the red demon sword and clashed head-on with Saber Mountain Venerable's Scarlet Rune Sword. Ding! As the two flying swords clashed, a crisp sound echoed in the infinite heaven and earth array. After a single move, both Ningyu and Saber Mountain Venerable retreated simultaneously. Judging from the distance they retreated, Ningyu and Saber Mountain Venerable were equally matched, and neither of them gained the upper hand. Your flying sword is also a superior monarch. Saber Mountain Venerable's face was extremely gloomy. He did not expect Ningyu to have a superior monarch flying sword too, and it was also a superior monarch. A superior monarch flying sword was extremely rare, and Saber Mountain Venerable had put in a lot of effort to obtain the Scarlet Rune Sword back then, to the extent that he almost lost his life. Now that Ningyu, who was a peak grade 3 sovereign, also had a superior monarch flying sword, he felt unbalanced. Who said that you're the only one allowed to have a superior monarch flying sword? And I can't. Ningyu shrugged and said, "You said that I'm at the end of my rope just now, but it seems like I'm not at the end of my rope. You're at the end of your rope." Through this exchange of blows, Ningyu had already determined Saber Mountain Venerable's true combat power. The Great Wilderness Venerable's self-destruction had a huge impact on Saber Mountain Venerable. Otherwise, even if the Scarlet Rune Sword was flawed, Saber Mountain Venerable would not have been evenly matched with him. At the very least, he would have had the upper hand. Ha ha ha. Saber Mountain Venerable raised his head and laughed maniacally. He then said coldly, "Ningyu, I didn't expect you to notice me even though I hid so well. However, you've overlooked something." "What is it?" Ningyu was puzzled. "You've forgotten where I'm from." Following that, Saber Mountain Venerable closed his eyes and slowly rose. "Where I'm from? Of course, I'm from the Alchemy Guild." "Oh no." Ningyu was slightly stunned. However, Ningyu reacted quickly. Saber Mountain Venerable was from the Alchemy Guild, so he definitely had a heaven-defying elixir that could increase his strength. Crack! Ningyu's worries were not unreasonable. All of a sudden, Saber Mountain Venerable opened his eyes, and a red elixir flew out from his sleeve. Saber Mountain Venerable opened his mouth and swallowed the elixir. Boom! A muffled sound was heard. Something seemed to have opened up in Saber Mountain Venerable's body, and his aura instantly increased from a middle grade 9 sovereign to a peak middle grade 9 sovereign. Furthermore, Saber Mountain Venerable's aura continued to increase. Boom! 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 Numerous sounds were heard. Chapter 1209. Unable to withstand a single blow, Ningyu's expression turned ugly when he sensed Saber Mountain Venerable's aura. Saber Mountain Venerable was injured just now. Moreover, the red pattern sword was damaged, causing Saber Mountain Venerable to be no match for Ningyu. Hence, Ningyu had a high chance of killing him. But now, Saber Mountain Venerable had consumed a pill to raise his aura to a late-stage 9th grade human supreme. Ningyu was not confident that he could defeat Saber Mountain Venerable in this state. "Ningyu, you're the reason why things have come to this. Today, I'll enforce justice on behalf of the heavens and kill you with my red pattern sword." Following that, Saber Mountain Venerable tore the void apart and charged at Ningyu. Saber Mountain Venerable knew very well. The effect of the pill he consumed was limited, and he could only last half an hour at the late-stage 9th grade human supreme. Half an hour later, his aura would plummet, and he might even fall to a 9th grade human supreme. In other words, Saber Mountain Venerable had to kill Ningyu within half an hour, then look for Venerable Spiritual Su and kill him as well. That was the only way he could successfully escape. Otherwise, even if he killed Ningyu, he would still die if Venerable Spiritual Su came over when his aura was at its lowest. Ding ding ding. Facing such a powerful Saber Mountain Venerable, Ningyu did not choose to resign himself to death. Instead, he took out the Red Demon Sword and fought with Saber Mountain Venerable. The Red Demon Sword and the Red Pattern Sword clashed repeatedly, producing crisp sounds. Fortunately, the Red Demon Sword's rank is very high. The more he fought, the more Ningyu felt fortunate. As the saying went, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. At its peak, the Red Pattern Sword was an upper royal grade flying sword of extremely high quality. Although it was damaged, it could still unleash the power of a middle royal grade flying sword. Saber Mountain Venerable's combat power was almost at its peak with the Red Pattern Sword's aura as a late-stage 9th grade human supreme. In other words, if the Red Demon Sword quality was not higher than the Red Pattern Swords, Ningyu would have died a long time ago. How could he have lasted until now? I can't go on like this. I won't be able to last half an hour. Saber Mountain Venerable was aware of his body's condition, but it was not like Ningyu was clueless. Almost all elixirs that could increase one's strength in a short period of time had side effects. This was especially so for pills like Saber Mountain Venerables, which allowed him to advance from a middle 9th grade Human Supreme to a late 9th grade Human Supreme, so the side effects would definitely be huge. Although Ningyu had no idea what elixir the Saber Mountain Venerable had consumed, the fact that the Venerable could maintain his aura for half an hour was already a miracle. However, Ningyu could not hold on for even half an hour. Ding! Saber Mountain Venerable went all out with each attack. Just as Ningyu was slightly stunned, Blade Mountain Venerable seized the opportunity to slash the red demon sword. Hiss! Ningyu could not help but loosen his grip as he felt a tearing pain coming from the webbing between his thumb and forefinger. The red demon sword was naturally snatched away by Saber Mountain Venerable. Ningyu, I've given you many chances, but you didn't cherish them. Today, I'll use your flying sword to send you to hell. Blade Mountain Venerable raised the red demon sword in his hand and slashed it down. Chi! Chi! Wherever the red demon's sword passed, the air would avoid it, and the vitality would sizzle. In the blink of an eye, the red demon's sword had arrived at Ningyu's neck. Swoosh! However, just as the red demon sword was about to slash Ningyu's neck, the situation suddenly changed. An extremely terrifying energy shot out from the red demon sword and struck Blade Mountain Venerable's chest. The huge force that came from his chest caused Blade Mountain Venerable to shriek like a pig being slaughtered. At the same time, he quickly retreated. After waving his hand, the red demon's sword did not continue its attack. Instead, it hovered above Ningyu's head. What's going on? After stabilizing himself, Blade Mountain Venerable stared at Ningyu and roared. Ningyu shook his slightly swollen wrist and grabbed the red demon sword. He said, I forgot to tell you. Not only is the red demon sword's quality higher than your scarlet pattern swords, but it's also produced a spiritual body. What? A spiritual body? Upon hearing Ningyu's words, Blade Mountain Venerable was not angry, nor did he feel despair. Instead, he was ecstatic. If he could obtain a flying sword that produced a spiritual body, his strength would improve by leaps and bounds. I must obtain the red demon sword. Blade Mountain Venerable secretly made up his mind to obtain the red demon sword no matter what. Even if he could not kill Ningyu today, he would not hesitate. You've really lost your mind. You're no different from a lunatic now. Ningyu rolled his eyes and approached Blade Mountain Venerable step by step with the red demon sword in his hand. After being ambushed by the red demon sword, Blade Mountain Venerable's combat power decreased again. At that moment, Blade Mountain Venerable could no longer suppress Ningyu completely. They were evenly matched, and neither of them could completely suppress the other. I'm going to grind your bones into ashes. Blade Mountain Venerable raised his eyebrows. He did not take Ningyu seriously at all. Instead, he dashed out again and started an intense fight with Ningyu. This time, Blade Mountain Venerable did not gain the upper hand. In fact, he was even being suppressed by Ningyu. If this situation continued, Blade Mountain Venerable would definitely be the one to lose. Damn it, damn it. Saber Mountain Venerable gritted his teeth after every exchange of blows. Although he was angry, there was nothing he could do. The effect of the pill had decreased, and the scarlet pattern sword was already damaged. Given his current state, he could not fight against Ningyu head-on at all. Bang! The fight lasted for a few more minutes. When the 8th minute arrived, Ningyu was quick-witted. He caught Blade Mountain Venerable's flaw and stabbed his sword into the Venerable's right arm. The excruciating pain from his arm forced Blade Mountain Venerable to raise his sword and chop off his right arm. Chi. As it turned out, Blade Mountain Venerable's decision to chop off his right arm was the wisest decision. This was because his right arm was completely corroded and turned into nothingness as soon as it fell to the ground. You actually have such a vicious thing. Blade Mountain Venerable instantly retreated to the edge of the infinite heaven and earth formation and said coldly, Aren't you afraid that I'll cut the crap? You can't even get out of the infinite heaven and earth formation, and you still want to spread the news? Ningyu interrupted Blade Mountain Venerable and said in disdain, "Besides, nobody will believe you even if you spread the news." "Oh right." Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and continued, "I won't kill you. I'll only refine you into a puppet. Didn't you despise the cultivation of the puppet that I refined, which is only at the peak of the manifestation realm? If I use you as a material, the puppet that I refine should have the cultivation of the supremacy realm. If I prepare it well, it might even have the cultivation of a high-level human supremacy. You actually want to refine me into a puppet." Blade Mountain Venerable's pupils shrunk, and the ferocious look on his face became more obvious. A warrior prefers death to humiliation. Chapter 12:10. Harvest. "You're right, but it's a pity there's no prize." Ningyu spoke calmly. Ningyu had no intention of letting a martial artist like Saber Mountain Venerable go. Releasing a tiger back to the mountain? Ningyu was not a fool, and he would not do something so stupid. "I'm going to skin you alive." Saber Mountain Venerable roared and charged straight at Ouyangming. Upon seeing Saber Mountain Venerable charging at him, Ningyu's eyes turned cold. He channeled the raging vitality in his sea of consciousness into the red demon sword. Swoosh! Just as Ningyu was about to fight it out with Saber Mountain Venerable, the latter suddenly turned around and flew far away. Escape! Saber Mountain Venerable knew very well that he had to escape if he wanted to live. He would only die if he stayed any longer. Ultimate heaven and earth formation. However, how could Ningyu give Saber Mountain Venerable a chance to escape? As soon as Saber Mountain Venerable arrived at the edge of the ultimate heaven and earth formation, Ningyu controlled the formation to form a light shield in front of Saber Mountain Venerable. Crack! Faced with the light shield in front of him, Saber Mountain Venerable swung his red-patterned sword without any hesitation. For the sake of survival, Saber Mountain Venerable used all his strength in his punch, without holding back at all. However, Saber Mountain Venerable was no longer in his peak condition. His red-patterned sword was damaged, and his aura was declining. Although Saber Mountain Venerable managed to shatter the light shield in his current state, he could not completely break it. At the same time, Ningyu arrived in front of Saber Mountain Venerable with a red demon sword in his hand. Oh no! Saber Mountain Venerable's face changed when he sensed the red demon sword charging at him, and he quickly tried to block it. It was evident that it was too late for Saber Mountain Venerable to block it. As his pupils shrunk, the red demon sword gradually enlarged and pierced through his glabella. Although the spot between Saber Mountain Venerable's eyebrows was penetrated, he did not die right away. He raised his left hand and pointed at Ningyu. His mouth opened slightly as if he wanted to say something, but before he could say anything, his body tilted and he fell to the ground. Thump! At this moment, Saber Mountain Venerable, a peak 8th grade alchemist from the Alchemy Union's middle stage 9th grade Supreme Alchemist, had died tragically. Hiss! After his death, Saber Mountain Venerable's body weakened rapidly and turned into a pile of powder before long. Shio! As soon as Saber Mountain Venerable's body turned into powder, a cold light emerged and flashed into the distance at an extremely fast speed. Ningyu, the mountains will never change, and the rivers will continue to flow. When I find the next body to possess, it will be the day of your death. Saber Mountain Venerable, who was in soul form, left a harsh sentence before he escaped. You want to leave? Since Ningyu decided to kill Saber Mountain Venerable, he would not hold back at all. In fact, he had a foolproof plan from the beginning. With a thought, Ningyu took out the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag and blocked in front of Saber Mountain Venerable. Saber Mountain Venerable, don't go anywhere. This 10,000 Spirits sacred flag will be your final destination. The corners of Ningyu's lips curled up as he said calmly, there are many souls in the 1,000 Ghosts sacred flag. If you enter, you can even become the leader. You'll be second only to one, but above tens of thousands of people. Damn it! Saber Mountain Venerable did not want to be above tens of thousands of people. His thoughts were simple. Escape. He had to escape from this place as soon as possible. He had to escape from the limitless heaven and earth formation and the great Xia Kingdom. He had to run as far as he could. Given his current soul form, as long as he found a body to possess, he could recover as soon as possible. Fortunately, I'm a peak 8th grade alchemist with a strong soul power. Otherwise, that devouring power just now would have devoured my soul directly. This time, the one who felt fortunate was not Ningyu, but Saber Mountain Venerable. The fact that he could maintain his soul form had something to do with his strong soul power. Law of Space, sapling, don't stay idle. Go and fight Saber Mountain Venerable with the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag. Ningyu did not want to be entangled with Saber Mountain Venerable for too long. After throwing out the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag, he got the sapling and the Law of Space to help. Although the Law of Space and the sapling's combat power could not resist a 9th grade human supreme, they were more than enough to deal with Saber Mountain Venerable in his soul form. Without a host, Saber Mountain Venerable's strength dropped to a freezing point. At this moment, Saber Mountain Venerable could even be killed by a grade 1 human sovereign. What? You actually have a Law of Space and a sapling? It's the Tree of World. Saber Mountain Venerable widened his mouth in despair when he saw the sapling and the Law of Space charging at him. Be it the Tree of World or the Law of Space, they were things that he could not resist. At the same time, Saber Mountain Venerable was puzzled. Why didn't Ningyu take out the Law of Space and the Tree of World right away? Saber Mountain Venerable was destined to not know about these things. The 10,000 Spirits sacred flag's power was not for show. While Saber Mountain Venerable was slightly stunned, the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag shot out thousands of souls and devoured Saber Mountain Venerable's soul. Buzz, buzz. The Law of Space and the sapling were very dissatisfied when they saw Saber Mountain Venerable's soul being devoured. Ningyu had sent them out to deal with Saber Mountain Venerable. Now that Saber Mountain Venerable was being devoured by the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag, how could they be satisfied? Despite being dissatisfied, the sapling and the Law of Space dared not disobey Ningyu too much. After all, Ningyu's aura and combat power had a qualitative improvement in the infinite heaven and earth formation. To put it simply, they could not fight against Ningyu now. If they wanted to bully someone, they would bully the weak. They dared not bully the strong, nor did they want to bully them. Therefore, the sapling and the Law of Space returned to the storage ring in dissatisfaction and lost their connection. I'm speechless. Ningyu rolled his eyes. He reached out his right hand and grabbed the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag tightly. With this 10,000 Go sacred flag, coupled with my peak 3rd grade human supreme stage cultivation and early 8th grade soul power, I can even contend with an ordinary 9th grade human supreme stage. Ningyu was very satisfied after keeping the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag. Today's battle result had reached an unprecedented level. Not only did he kill Reverend Great Desolation, but he also got rid of Saber Mountain Venerable. Most importantly, he had obtained a heaven-defying artifact like the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag. As long as he kept feeding the 10,000 Spirits sacred flag, he believed that its power would be comparable to the Red Demon Sword after some time. Ningyu, hurry up and open the infinite heaven and earth formation. Let me help you. At this moment, a loud voice resounded above the infinite heaven and earth formation. Reverend Spiritual Su. Ningyu was very familiar with the voice. It was none other than Reverend Spiritual Su. Looks like Reverend Spiritual Su has recovered to his peak. Ningyu rolled his eyes and stored the 10,000 Spirit sacred flag into his storage ring. He tidied up his clothes before opening the infinite heaven and earth array. Boom! Chapter 12:11. Senior Spirit Void. Senior Spirit Void. Sensing this extremely familiar aura, Ningyu forced himself to calm down. Have you completely recovered to your peak state? Where are Saber Mountain and Great Desolation? Spirit Void didn't immediately reply to Ningyu. Instead, he looked around, trying to find Saber Mountain and Great Desolation. However, he gave up after looking around for a moment. He couldn't even sense Saber Mountain and Great Desolation's auras. Could it be that Saber Mountain and Great Desolation had been killed by Ningyu? Thinking of this, Spirit Void's gaze changed as he looked at Ningyu. After recovering to his peak state, Spirit Void had immediately rushed over. He hadn't asked Pil Guzi or the others about what had happened in the endless heaven and earth formation. So he didn't know that Great Desolation had been killed by Ningyu. I was lucky enough to kill them, Ningyu said. I threw all the Xingyang pills and sovereign grade yuan crystals into the altar and used the endless heaven and earth formation to successfully kill Saber Mountain and Great Desolation. This, to be honest, although Ningyu said it casually, it was like a clap of thunder in revered Spirit Su's ears. Saber Mountain and Great Desolation were rank 9 mortal sovereigns. Furthermore, the Saber Mountain Venerable was a 9th grade middle stage supreme being. Even if Ningyu threw the Emperor grade yuan crystals and Xingyang pills into the altar, even if Ningyu made use of the heaven and earth limitless array, it would still be difficult for him to kill the Great Desolation Venerable and the Saber Mountain Venerable. Swish, swish, swish. Just at this moment, the Dark Emperor and Pil Guzi flew over. Ningyu, are you all right? The Dark Emperor immediately asked, Where's a Saber Mountain? You didn't kill him, did you? Dan Guzi, the Sword of Evil, and the others also looked at Ningyu, wanting to hear Ningyu's reply. Ningyu nodded and answered, I've indeed killed Saber Mountain Venerable. However, Ningyu clearly didn't want to dwell too much on this matter. He turned to Venerable Spirit Su and said, Venerable Spirit Su, have you completely recovered to your peak state? I have something I need your help with. What is it? Sage Lingshu asked. To be able to cultivate to the 9th grade intermediate human sovereign realm meant that revered Spirit Su was not simple. Since Ningyu changed the topic, it meant that Ningyu did not want to be entangled in this matter. Everyone had their own secrets. Moreover, Ningyu was Mu Yunshan's son. Ningyu was powerful, so he should be very pleased. About my father, after a moment's thought, Ningyu said, This isn't the place to talk. Let's find a quiet place to talk. Follow me. Ouyang Luan was very perceptive. As soon as Ningyu finished speaking, he immediately said, Other than this secret room, there's another place in the Imperial Palace that's very quiet. I guarantee we won't be disturbed. Lead the way, Ningyu said solemnly. What happened next was very important to Ningyu. Whether his father Ning Hai could wake up or not, he couldn't afford to be careless. Russell. Following Ouyang Luan through the complex courtyard, Ningyu and the others stopped in front of a heavy stone door. Creak. Ouyang Luan took out a golden key and inserted it into the hole in the stone door. Then, the heavy stone door slowly opened. This door is made of 1,000-year-old cold steel. Even a sovereign, in order to show that he was doing his best, Ouyang Luan pointed at the stone door. However, he swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Other than him, all the cultivators present were at the utmost exalted level. There was even a grade 9 human sovereign like Sovereign Spiritual Su. Although the stone door could block the attack of a grade 1 human sovereign, it was completely useless against high-level human sovereigns like Ningyu. It would be a waste of words. You can leave first. Try to send experts to patrol the capital. If there's any suspicious person, inform Dan Guzi immediately. He knows what to do. Leaving behind this sentence, Ningyu and Sovereign Spiritual Su entered the secret room. Bang! Just as Ningyu and Sovereign Spiritual Su entered the secret room, the stone door slammed shut. The Dark Emperor and the others were given the cold shoulder. My God, you didn't let me in earlier. I came here for nothing. The Dark Emperor was a little angry, but there was nothing he could do. After thinking about it, the Dark Emperor could only vent his anger on Ouyang Luan. Find the 10 strongest people in the Imperial Palace. I'm going to bring them to patrol the capital. The Dark Emperor was now a new person. The first time he came to the capital, he even annihilated a second-rate family in the capital. At that time, that matter caused a huge uproar, and he was almost caught and roasted alive. Now that he had advanced to the peak of grade 3 human sovereign, he was extremely powerful. He could practically do whatever he wanted in the capital. Naturally, he had to go to Divine Qi. Yes. Ouyang Luan didn't dare to disobey the Dark Emperor. He immediately followed the Dark Emperor's instructions. Dan Guzi, is Ningyu injured? After the Dark Emperor and Ouyang Lun left, the Sword of Evil asked. From the Sword of Evil's point of view, unless Ningyu was injured, there was no reason for him to enter the secret room with Sovereign Spiritual Su. There was only one possibility. Ningyu didn't want them to worry. That's possible. Venerable Saber Mountain isn't someone to be trifled with. Dan Guzi was also a little worried. Although he was worried, Dan Guzi didn't stay here for long. As a peak grade 8 pill refinement master, Dan Guzi needed to find some medicinal ingredients to refine pills to help him and the Sword of Evil recover quickly. After all, they were different from the Dark Emperor. The Dark Emperor was a purple gold sky devouring dog. His recovery ability was heaven-defying. If they wanted to completely recover, they needed the help of pills. At the same time, in the secret room, Ninghai, Sovereign Spiritual Su looked at the middle-aged man in front of him with an extremely shocked expression. "Where did you find your father?" Sovereign Spiritual Su said in a low voice. The protective barrier on the surface of his body is extremely domineering. It's a barrier unique to the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. I found my father in a magical Beast Mountain Ranges Beast King Palace. At that time, he was trapped by the experts of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu recounted what had happened to Sovereign Spiritual Su. Of course, some things that had nothing to do with Ninghai were omitted by Ningyu. Looks like your mother is trapped in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Sovereign Spiritual Su's killing intent surged, making him look very terrifying. Not simple, just who is Sovereign Spiritual Su? Sensing the terrifying killing intent coming from Sovereign Spiritual Su, Ningyu's pupils constricted. Sovereign Spiritual Su's terrifying killing intent had most likely already completed the 1,000 slaughter. Without killing over 1,000 martial artists, it was impossible to have such a killing intent. Swish! Sovereign Spiritual Su's killing intent flashed for a moment, before quickly returning to normal. I'll think of a way to break the protective barrier on the surface of your father's body. Leave first, Sovereign Spiritual Su said lightly. Leave? Why do you want me to leave? Ningyu didn't understand. Chapter 12:12. Consecutive Breakthroughs. The protective barrier on your father's body is very special. Supremacy Spiritual Su's eyes flickered as he said in a low voice. Even halfway through his sentence, Supremacy Spiritual Su stopped. Frowning slightly, Supremacy Spiritual Su continued. In any case, listen to me and leave first. With that said, Supremacy Spiritual Su took out a crystal ball and handed it to Ningyu. As long as you notice that the crystal ball has broken, it means that I've broken the protective barrier. It won't be too late for you to come at that time. This all right. Taking the crystal ball, Ningyu opened his mouth slightly, wanting to say something. However, when he saw Supremacy Spiritual Su's determined expression, he did not continue. Creak. Although Ningyu had decided to leave the room, he was not a rash person. Before he left, he quietly left behind a wisp of soul force. Subsequently, Ningyu pushed open the door and walked out. Sigh. Looking at Ningyu's departing figure, Supremacy Spiritual Su sighed softly and murmured, the problem that's troubling Ningyu isn't just the protective barrier. Swish. Supremacy Spiritual Su was not an indecisive person. Waving both hands, he first set up a small formation and then began to break the protective barrier on Ninghai's body. At the same time, in another room right next to it, with a thought, Ningyu released Lu Wei from his storage ring. Right now, Lu Wei looked no different from a normal person. However, Ningyu knew very well that Su Yun's terrifying vitality still remained in Lu Wei's consciousness. Like Lu Wei, Su Yun also had an extreme body. Last time, before Su Yun blew himself up, he injected the qi in his body into Lu Xuan's mind and helped Lu Xuan reach the peak of the manifestation realm. Furthermore, a whirlpool had appeared in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness. All the excess primordial qi had entered the whirlpool and lay dormant. Back then, Ningyu had already speculated that as long as Lu Wei could refine that much essence qi, her cultivation would very likely reach the 4th or 5th grade sovereign realm. Help Lu Wei refine her yuan qi. When they left the Beast King's palace, Ningyu was only at the initial stage human supremacy and was unable to help Lu Wei at all. Now that Ningyu had advanced to the peak 3rd grade human sovereign, his soul power had also increased from the middle 7th grade to the early 8th grade. In this state, Ningyu was very confident that he could help Lu Wei and help Lu Wei refine the yuan qi in her sea of consciousness. Whoosh! Ningyu was not an indecisive person. If he said he would do it, he would do it. First, he placed Lu Wei on the chair. Then, Ningyu unleashed his powerful perception and slowly entered Lu Wei's sea of consciousness. Ningyu's speed was not fast. He entered bit by bit. Last time, Ningyu had seen how terrifying the yuan qi in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness was. Therefore, he did not dare to relax this time. If he relaxed even a little, he might die a horrible death. Chi-chi. However, the moment Ningyu's soul power entered Lu Wei's sea of consciousness, a chi-chi sound erupted. Whoosh! Then, a terrifying whirlpool appeared again. Oh no! With the appearance of the whirlpool, Ningyu realized the seriousness of the problem, because he discovered that the soul power that he had left in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness was actually being openly devoured by the whirlpool. If the whirlpool had only devoured Ningyu's soul power, Ningyu would not have been so shocked. What shocked Ningyu was that the devouring power emitted from the whirlpool seemed to have locked onto him. It had already moved from Lu Wei's sea of consciousness to his body. Even if Ningyu was prepared, he still felt a little troubled facing the terrifying devouring power. Law of space, sapling. At the critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly communicated with the sapling and the law of space. Don't you have strong devouring power? I have the sapling and the law of space. I don't believe you can be stronger than me. Whoosh, whoosh. The sapling and the law of space did not drop the ball. They instantly flew out from the storage ring and floated above Ningyu's head. Two devouring powers that were not weaker than the ones emitted from the whirlpool began to fight on Ningyu's body. 3 types of devouring power. One came from the whirlpool, one came from the sapling, and one came from the law of space. Even though it was 1 against 2, the devouring power emitted from the whirlpool was not at a disadvantage at all. What's going on? At this moment, Ningyu was a little confused. Why was the whirlpool in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness so powerful? It could actually contend with the sapling and the law of space. Whoosh whoosh. Time flew by, and 3 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. In these 3 minutes, Ningyu experienced what it meant to have ice and fire at the same time. In the first 2 minutes, the sapling and the law of space were still able to contend with the devouring power emitted from the whirlpool. But as time passed, especially after the 3rd minute, the situation suddenly changed. The sapling and the law of space only lasted for 3 minutes before they declared defeat and returned to the storage ring. Come back, all of you come back. Seeing the sapling and the law of space flee in panic, Ningyu gritted his teeth in anger. When they were fighting for essence crystals and energy, the two of them worked very hard. Now that they were in danger, they chose to flee. After we get through this crisis, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. After saying that, Ningyu began to resist the terrifying, devouring power emitted from the whirlpool. Bang! At this moment, a muffled sound rang out in Lu Wei's mind. Boom! Immediately after, a terrifying aura surged into the sky. Paragon state. Sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Lu Wei, Ningyu's mouth opened slightly in disbelief. Could it be that advancing to the Paragon state was so simple? One must know that Lu Wei was only at the peak of the manifestation state earlier, and even her consciousness was very blurry. But in this state, Lu Wei could advance to the Paragon state in just a few minutes. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself to others. No, it's still increasing. Ningyu's shock did not last long before he realized that Lu Wei's aura was still increasing. Early stage, 1st grade human supremacy Mid-stage first-grade human supremacy. The speed at which Lu Wei's aura was increasing was indeed a little terrifying. Bang! Not long after, a muffled sound was heard. Lu Wei's cultivation had also completely reached the second-grade human supremacy state. Ordinary martial artists would need several years or even decades to advance from the first-grade human supremacy state to the second-grade human supremacy state. Even the most talented martial artists would need about a year. But Lu Wei only took a few minutes to advance from the first-grade human supremacy state to the second-grade human supremacy state. Gulp. The rapid increase in Lu Wei's aura made Ningyu swallow a mouthful of saliva uncontrollably. Could it be? What shocked Ningyu was yet to come. Ningyu was surprised to find that Lu Wei's aura did not show any signs of weakening after advancing to the second-grade human supremacy state, but was still rapidly increasing. Bang! His mouth opened wide enough to fit a fist. Ningyu was completely dumbfounded. Lu Wei had actually advanced to the third-grade human supremacy state. This was unprecedented. This was truly unprecedented. Ningyu had never encountered such a thing before. What the F***CK? In the next moment, Ningyu directly cursed. As a person who had lived 2 lives, he had seen a lot of the world. There had never been anything like this that had shocked him so much, because Lu Wei of the third-grade human supremacy state. Chapter 12-13. The mantis stalks the cicada crack. Ningyu's shocked expression didn't last long before he was attracted by a crisp sound. He saw Lu Wei suddenly open her eyes, and an extremely crisp sound came from her sea of consciousness. Rumble. The result naturally didn't need to be described. 4th grade, human sovereign. At this moment, Lu Wei advanced from 3rd grade human sovereign to 4th grade human sovereign. Although Lu Wei's aura was only that of an initial 4th grade human sovereign, her advancement speed still shocked Ningyu. After advancing to 4th grade human sovereign, the vortex in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness completely dissipated and turned into nothingness. As the vortex dissipated, the powerful devouring power from the vortex also disappeared from Ningyu's body. Phew! As the devouring power disappeared, Ningyu let out a long sigh of relief. The worry in his heart was slightly alleviated. To be honest, the devouring power just now really worried Ningyu. Even a sapling and the law of space couldn't do anything to it. From this, one could see how terrifying the devouring power was. Ningyu. After recovering, Lu Wei looked around. She opened her mouth and asked in confusion, "Where is this? Why am I? What?" Before she could finish her words, Lu Wei revealed a shocked expression. "Ningyu, how did I advance to 4th grade human sovereign?" Lu Wei exclaimed. Hearing Lu Wei's words, Ningyu's face was full of black lines. When you advanced just now, your consciousness was still in a blurry state. After thinking about it, Ningyu decided to tell Lu Wei the truth. Who knows, he might even be able to find out Lu Wei's true identity. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu told Lu Wei what happened. "You must calm down later and try to control yourself." "I see." Lu Wei was surprisingly calm. "By the way, your identity." Although Lu Wei was unexpectedly calm, Ningyu still decided to ask if Lu Wei knew her true identity. What happened next made Ningyu feel very helpless. As soon as he mentioned the word identity, Lu Wei held her head in her hands and looked like she was in pain. "All right, I won't ask anymore." Helpless, Ningyu could only give up on asking. Anyway, there was plenty of time. Maybe after a while, Lu Wei would remember something. "I want to be alone for a while." Lu Wei's eyes flickered, and she directly asked him to leave. "Be careful. Inform me immediately if anything happens." Although Ningyu felt a little helpless, since Lu Wei had asked him to leave, it wouldn't be right for him to stay. After bidding farewell to Lu Wei, Ningyu went to the next room. Sigh. The series of events left Ningyu speechless. First, he was chased out of the room by revered Lingxiu, and now by Lu Wei. Ningyu was not a pessimist. After a soft sigh, he waved his hands and began to practice the netherworld samsara palm. In terms of cultivation, Ningyu was a peak 3rd-grade human supreme and could not advance to 4th-grade human supreme in a short period of time. In terms of the strength of his soul, Ningyu was at the early 8th grade and could not advance in a short period of time. Under such circumstances, he could only work hard on practicing martial techniques to quickly increase his battle strength. The universal palm was the 9th form of the netherworld samsara palm. When practiced to the extreme, it was extremely powerful. However, Ningyu had only practiced to the 2nd stage and was still a distance away from the extreme state. Now that he had the time, Ningyu began to practice without any hesitation. Swoosh! Recalling the cultivation method of the universal palm in his mind, Ningyu wrapped his yuan qi around his wrist and struck out with the palm. Crack! The palm print shattered quickly after being struck out. Not enough. Shaking his head, Ningyu's soul power surged in his body and combined it with his yuan qi to practice the universal palm. At the initial success realm, the palm print could transform into the left half of the Qian character. At the intermediate success realm, it could transform into a complete Qian character. At the greater success realm, it could transform into the Kuan character. At the ultimate success realm, the Qian and Kuan characters would merge into one. Ningyu's goal today was not only to cultivate the universal palm to the greater success realm, but also to the ultimate success realm, because only the ultimate success realm of the universal palm could increase his battle strength by around 50%. Crack! 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 With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu struck out multiple palm prints. As soon as these palm prints reached midair, they all shattered. Ningyu knew that the universal palm would be harder to cultivate as he progressed. He was not impatient, and every time he struck out a palm print, he would strive to have variations. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 3 hours had passed. Ningyu waved both his hands continuously. His early-stage, 8th grade soul power, combined with his majestic yuan qi, suddenly blasted out. Swoosh! In the next moment, a red palm print peeled off from Ningyu's palm. Universal! In midair, 2 huge Qian and Kuan characters appeared. Success! Looking at the 2 huge characters in midair, Ningyu's face lit up. After 3 hours of cultivation, he had finally cultivated the universal palm to the greater success realm. There was a saying that went, since you have reached the greater success realm, can the ultimate success realm be far away? Taking a deep breath, Ningyu completely emptied his mind and began to wholeheartedly cultivate the universal palm. While Ningyu was fully focused on cultivating the universal palm, the void not far from the capital suddenly split open. Buzz! As the void split open, an old man quietly appeared. The old man first took out a crystal ball and looked at it. Then his figure flashed, once again tearing open the void and disappeared. Whoosh! About 10 minutes to the west of the capital, a whirlpool suddenly appeared in the space. Several figures emerged from the whirlpool. Looking closely, these people were roughly divided into 2 camps. One of the camps had 5 people, 2 old men, and 3 young men. The other camp only had 3 people, 1 old man, and 2 young men. Fong Haigua, why did you stop? In the camp of 5 people, an old man dressed in gray said in a deep voice, Dan Shi kills without blinking an eye. If we were even half a beat slower, Dong He and the rest might be in danger. He is with Kong. The Mystic Moon Continent's Alchemist Union is too far from the Great Xia Kingdom. The old man called Fong Haigua smiled and said, We have traveled a long distance and have not rested at all. Everyone is very tired. Furthermore, your Mystic Moon Continent's Alchemist Union can't send any experts over. We came to help you out of goodwill. Can't we even rest? Oomph. Then you guys stay and rest. Let's go. With a cold snort, Zwakong waved his hand and flew toward the capital. Behind Zwakong, 4 martial artists chased after him and disappeared in an instant. Not long after Zwakong and the rest left, Fong Haigua's lips curled up. Elder Fong, should we follow them? A young martial artist beside Fong Haigua hesitated. No need. Chapter 12:14. Provoke on the streets of the capital of the Great Xia Kingdom. A black dog that wasn't too big stood on its hind legs, its front paws making a 180-degree turn, and it carried them on its back. Dark Emperor. This black dog was the Dark Emperor. On both sides of the Dark Emperor, there were 5 martial artists half a step into the manifestation realm. Since Dan Guzzi, the Sword of Evil, and the others hadn't recovered to their peak, the task of patrolling the capital naturally fell to the Dark Emperor. After being in the capital for so long, the Dark Emperor was finally proud for once. 10 martial artists who were half a step into the manifestation realm surrounded him like stars surrounding the moon. Ouyang Luan. After patrolling for about half an hour, the Dark Emperor felt bored. Whoosh! Ouyang Luan had been following beside the Dark Emperor. Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, he hurriedly tore open the void and appeared. You take them to other places to patrol, I'll just walk around. The Dark Emperor waved his hand and said, Remember, if anything happens, inform me immediately. Remember not to be impulsive. Yes, yes. Ouyang Luan hurriedly nodded. Following behind the Dark Emperor, a pinnacle 3rd-grade sovereign, Ouyang Luan felt a little pressured. Now that he heard the Dark Emperor's words, he immediately led the 10 half-step manifestation realm martial artists and left the area. Boring. After Ouyang Luan and the others left, the Dark Emperor moved and sat down in a restaurant. Waiter, the best dishes of our restaurant, such as hairy pork and fire leopard meat, serve them to me. Dong. The Dark Emperor was not the kind of person who ate alone. No, it should be said that the Dark Emperor was not the kind of dog who ate alone. He took out a piece of supreme-grade origin crystal and threw it on the table, saying, Don't take some trash to pass off as good. I have plenty of origin crystals. The Dark Emperor acted very arrogantly. He had a fearless expression on his face. Elder Fong, do you want to test it out? At a table not far from the Dark Emperor sat 3 martial artists, an old man and 2 young men. It was none other than Fong Guosheng and the others. There's no need. This black dog isn't simple. Let's take a look first. Shaking his head, Fong Guosheng said, Our goal is to kill Zhuokong and the others, not to create a conflict with other dogs. Waiter, here we are. You're here, dear customers. May I know what you need? A manservant quickly walked over and asked. This is for you. Fong Guosheng withdrew a transcendent-grade origin crystal and casually tossed it to the attendant. I have a few questions. As long as you answer them seriously, you won't be lacking in benefits. Hiss. After receiving the transcendent-grade origin crystal, the attendant gasped in shock. He had worked in this restaurant for so long, but he had never met such a generous customer. Now that there was a big fish coming, he naturally had to grab it tightly. Please feel free to ask me anything. I promise to tell you everything I know. The manservant patted his chest and promised. I heard that a Danshi appeared in the capital some time ago. Fong Guosheng set up a soundproof array formation in the surroundings and began to question the manservant. The soundproofing array formation that Fong Guosheng had set up caused the Dark Emperor to frown slightly, his expression a little ugly. The reason why the Dark Emperor entered this restaurant was not because he wanted to eat meat, but because when he was patrolling, he discovered the aura of an expert. As soon as he entered the restaurant, the Dark Emperor discovered that Fong Guosheng's group was not simple. The other 2 young men were better off. Their cultivation should be at the peak of rank 8 human sovereign. As for the old man, his cultivation was at least at rank 9 human sovereign. I should inform Dan Guzzi first. The Dark Emperor thought about it, and finally decided to inform Dan Guzzi. Against a peak rank 8 human sovereign, the Dark Emperor could fight and even kill them. But against a rank 9 human sovereign, the Dark Emperor didn't even have the ability to resist. Informing Dan Guzzi was the best decision. After informing Dan Guzzi, the Dark Emperor didn't choose to leave. Instead, he continued to stay. The Dark Emperor wanted to see just what kind of people these 3 were. So that's how it is. Fong Guosheng didn't know that the Dark Emperor had informed Dan Guzzi, nor did he care. After hearing the manservant's narration, Fong Guosheng frowned slightly and murmured, I want to see just what kind of person this Ningyu is. Under the temptation of benefits, the manservant told Fong Guosheng everything he knew. including the deeds of Ningyu and the Dark Emperor. Zhao Yong, go and test that black dog. After a moment, Feng Guosheng said, if possible, bring it over. Understood. Zhao Yong nodded and immediately stood up, walking towards the Dark Emperor. A moment later, Zhao Yong stood in front of the Dark Emperor. Elder Feng wants you to go over. Zhao Yong didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Who is Elder Feng? I don't know him, and I don't want to go over, the Dark Emperor said indifferently. Whether you go over or not is not up to you. Zhao Yong's eyes turned cold. As soon as the word "you" landed, Zhao Yong's right hand brought with it a violent gust of energy and punched towards the Dark Emperor's head. Although Zhao Yong didn't use his full strength in this punch, an ordinary rank 3 human sovereign wouldn't be able to block it. How strong can a black dog be? Zhao Yong didn't believe it. Just now, the manservant had praised the Dark Emperor to the heavens, saying how powerful he was. In his view, the Dark Emperor was only a peak rank 3 human sovereign. With his cultivation at rank 8 human sovereign, if he couldn't even deal with the Dark Emperor, then he would be no different from trash. Therefore, Zhao Yong decided to use force to subdue the Dark Emperor. You're courting death. Just because the Dark Emperor didn't want to make a move didn't mean that others could provoke him. Although he was only a peak rank 3 human sovereign, he was one of the 5 absolute geniuses, just like Ningyu. Who was Zhao Yong? A mere pinnacle rank 8 human sovereign. Zhao Yong was still lacking if he wanted to deal with him. Swinging his tail, he heavily whipped Zhao Yong's wrist. Piak! A crisp sound rang out. Voila! In an instant, the cultivator's Indians scattered in all directions. They had witnessed the Dark Emperor's reputation. Now that someone was fighting the Dark Emperor, they didn't want to be a living target. The intense pain coming from his wrist and the huge bloody mark on it caused Zhao Yong to let out a hysterical scream. Damn dog, I'll skin you alive. Zhao Yong raged. His strength wasn't stronger than the Dark Emperor in the first place. In addition, he did not use his full strength in that move, while the Dark Emperor had used 100% of his strength. Defeat was unavoidable. Zhao Yong, who had flown into a rage out of humiliation, stomped his feet on the ground and charged forth once again. In order to get back at him, Zhao Yong had used his full strength in this punch without holding back. It was so much so that Zhao Yong had even wrapped his soul energy around his wrist and smashed it towards the Dark Emperor's head. Zhao Yong was too rash. That dog is only a pinnacle rank 3 human sovereign. How strong can it be? Beside Feng Guosheng, Wang Song was a little unhappy as he said, this move of Zhao Yong's will probably shatter that dog's skull. Zhao Yong and Wang Song have been fighting openly and covertly all year round. Chapter 12:15. Chapter 12:15. Suicide. Do you really think that Zhao Yong could defeat that black dog? Feng Guosheng's words sounded out beside Wang Song's ears, without joy or sorrow. Hearing that, Wang Song was first stunned, then said doubtfully, Zhao Yong's martial strength is only slightly weaker than mine. Dealing with that black dog should be more than easy. Ho-ho. Smiling, Feng Guosheng did not continue speaking. Could it be that Zhao Yong being repelled wasn't because of carelessness? Wang Song's brows revealed a somewhat shocked expression. Honestly speaking, although Wang Song said that Zhao Yong's martial strength was inferior to his, the actual situation was that he and Zhao Yong were evenly matched. In Wang Song's subconscious, he did not believe that the Dark Emperor could win. Wang Song's eyes locked onto the Dark Emperor and Zhao Yong, wanting to see just who would win who. Bang! In the next instant, a clear sound rang out. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two figures separated upon contact, each retreating several dozen feet away. Just looking at the distance retreated, one could not discover who won. Evenly matched. Looking at the distance retreated, the Dark Emperor and Zhao Yong were evenly matched, neither able to do anything to the other. Zhao Yong, I've long told you to cultivate properly. You can't only care about raising your alchemy level and neglect your martial strength. You just wouldn't listen. Feng Guosheng's words sounded out in a timely manner. After today, you should know that there's always someone better out there. Speaking up to here, Fang Guosheng seemed to feel that it was a little inappropriate and said, there's always someone better out there. Pucci. The moment Fang Guosheng's words landed, Zhao Yong violently spewed out a large mouthful of fresh blood, his complexion becoming extremely pale. On the other hand, the Dark Emperor was completely unscathed, no different from earlier. What? The sudden change made Wang Song's expression change greatly. Wang Song would never have thought that Zhao Yong, who was at peak grade 8 human sovereign realm, would actually be placed in the hands of a grade 3 human sovereign realm black dog. Could it be that this black dog was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? His true cultivation was not at peak grade 3 human sovereign realm. What did you guys come to the Great Xia Empire for? Although he defeated Zhao Yong, the Dark Emperor's expression was very grim. Even Zhao Yong's strength made him feel troubled. It could be seen that once the old man made a move, the consequences would be disastrous. He might even be caught in an instant. Sure enough, before one wave had subsided, another. His comfortable life only lasted for a few hours before it was destroyed by these people in front of him. I wonder where they came from. The Corpse Sect, the Blood God Palace, the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, or the Sacred Heaven Gate of the Ice Domain. The Dark Emperor's heart raced, trying to guess the identities of Fang Guosheng and the others. We didn't come to the Great Xia Kingdom for anything important. Fang Guosheng's expression was emotionless as he replied, I believe you know Dong He. We are here in the Great Xia Kingdom mainly to look for him. Dong He? You're from the Alchemy Union. The Dark Emperor was not a fool. Since Fang Guosheng knew Dong He, it meant that he was definitely someone from the Alchemy Association. As for whether it was the Mystic Moon Continent's Alchemy Union or Danshan Continent's Alchemy Union headquarters, the Dark Emperor had no idea. You're right. Unfortunately, there's no prize. Fang Guosheng said, Where is Dong He? Take us to him. Fang Guosheng knew that Zuokang and the others would definitely go to find Dong He. In other words, as long as he found Dong He, he would be able to find Zuokang and catch them all in one fell swoop. In order to destroy and kill Zuokang, he had been enduring for a long time, all for this moment. Now that the opportunity was right in front of him, he naturally wouldn't let it go for nothing. Who is Dong He? I don't know him. The Dark Emperor said coldly. Sigh. It seems like you won't cry until you see the coffin. With a light sigh, Fang Guosheng said, I originally planned to let you live, but since you're so stubborn, I can only send you to heaven. With that, Fang Guosheng released his aura and frantically pressed down on the Dark Emperor. Crack, crack. Fang Guosheng's aura was extremely terrifying, causing the Dark Emperor's legs to bend, as though he was about to kneel down. Who are those three? Why did they dare to do that to the Dark Emperor? I'm not sure, but since they dared to do that to the Dark Emperor, it means that their backing is very strong. In the Great Xia Kingdom, who else has a stronger backing than the Dark Emperor? The royal family and Danwu College are both the Dark Emperor's backing. Danwu College and the royal family are nothing. The most important thing is Ningyu. Ningyu is a supreme realm martial artist. In the entire Great Xia Kingdom, there aren't many who are stronger than Ningyu. On the streets of the capital, the crowd stopped in their tracks and discussed the happenings in the inn. As Fang Guosheng had set up an aura isolation formation, his aura as a high-level human supreme was concealed. No one knew that he was a grade 9 human supreme, and they only thought that he was slightly stronger than the Dark Emperor. Are you going to speak or not? Fang Guosheng said while suppressing the Dark Emperor. The heavens are merciful. I'll give you one last chance. Tell me where Dong He is. I don't know, the Dark Emperor said coldly. Not going to speak? Raising his brows, Fang Guosheng raised his right hand and slapped the Dark Emperor's face. Pa pa pa. A series of crisp sounds rang out. The Dark Emperor's face was a little swollen from his slaps. Very good, very good. After a dozen slaps, Fang Guosheng finally stopped and said, Let's go to Danwu College. Grabbing the Dark Emperor, Fang Guosheng's figure flashed and sprinted towards Danwu College. Dong He was a supreme realm martial artist and a late-stage grade 8 elixir refinement master. In the capital, there were three places that he was most likely to go: Danwu College, the royal family, and the Elixir Refinement Union. The first place Fang Guosheng went to was Danwu College. He brought the Dark Emperor and shuttled in the sky above the capital. Behind Fang Guosheng, Wang Song and Zhao Yong did not dare to be slow and followed closely. Zhao Yong and the rest did not dare to be too far away from Fang Guosheng. Through the exchange with the Dark Emperor, they knew that there was always someone stronger in the world. Even a dog possessed such powerful strength. The arrogance in their hearts weakened a little. Who dares to block my way? After flying in the sky above the capital for dozens of seconds, Fang Guosheng stopped and floated in the air. Buzz! Buzz! The moment Fang Guosheng's voice fell, the void in front of him suddenly split open. Several figures appeared in his vision. Dan Guzi. Looking at the figure at the very front, Fang Guosheng clenched his fists tightly, a shocked expression on his face. To think that you're still alive. As someone from the headquarters of the Pill Success Continent's Elixir Refinement Union, Fang Guosheng naturally recognized Dan Guzi. In fact, Fang Guosheng's hatred towards Dan Guzi was even greater than Saber Mountain Venerable. Back then, when Dan Guosheng was fleeing with the Devil Venerable, he killed one of his beloved disciples. This hatred had always been suppressed in the bottom of Fang Guosheng's heart. Now that he saw Dan Guosheng again, the viciousness on Fang Guosheng's face became increasingly obvious. Chapter 12:16. Bloodthirst. Fang Guosheng. Dan Guzi's expression was equally ugly. Fang Guosheng was sizing him up, and he was sizing Fang Guosheng up. In comparison, not only was Dan Guzi's expression ugly, but his heart had also sunk to rock bottom. On his side, only he was a 9th-rank mortal sovereign. The Sword of Evil and Xielan were only 8th-rank mortal sovereigns. As for Fang Guosheng's side, apart from him, Zhao Yong and Wang Song were both peak 8th-rank mortal sovereigns. The two sides weren't on equal footing. Most importantly, Fang Guosheng had already been an early 9th-rank mortal sovereign several years ago. After so many years of cultivation, Fang Guosheng's aura was vigorous. It was clear that he had improved even further. Fang Guosheng, we'll settle our grudges ourselves. Taking a deep breath, Dan Guzi said coldly, "Release the Dark Emperor. This matter has nothing to do with him." "Haha, you want me to release this black dog?" Fang Guosheng smiled slightly. "It's very simple. Kneel down and kowtow to me a few times. Perhaps I'll consider it." Crack, crack. Dan Guzi's fury reached its peak. He clenched his fists, cracking them. "You go first. Think of a way to notify Ning Yu and Sovereign Spiritual Su." Pil Guzi first whispered a few words into Venerable Sword Nefarious' ears before speaking in a clear voice. "Fang Guosheng, change your conditions. Stall for time." Dan Guzi was well aware of the current situation. Before Ning Yu and Sovereign Spiritual Su arrived, he had to do his best to stabilize Fang Guosheng and buy time for Ning Yu and the others. There was no way to win in a head-on clash. After all, Fang Guosheng was very powerful. He had no confidence in defeating him in a one-on-one fight. "Want to leave? It won't be so easy." Fang Guosheng's perception covered a radius of several kilometers. When he saw the Sword of Evil tear through space to leave, Fang Guosheng's eyes shone with a frightening light. He tore through space and landed in front of the Sword of Evil, blocking the Sword of Evil's path. Bang! He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched the Sword of Evil's chest with a violent gust of vital energy. The Sword of Evil felt a tearing pain in his chest, causing him to fly back several meters before crashing heavily into a nearby wall. Voila! The Sword of Evil smashed through the wall made of stones, causing rubble to scatter all over the ground. Xiao! Taking advantage of this opening, the Dark Emperor shot toward Dan Guzi. "Useless dog, you dare to run away?" Zhao Yong was constantly paying attention to the Dark Emperor's actions. Seeing that the Dark Emperor had taken the opportunity to escape, Zhao Yong revealed a cold expression on his face. Stepping on the ground, Zhao Yong gave chase. After being defeated by the Dark Emperor, Zhao Yong wanted to get back at him. Unfortunately, the Dark Emperor was always being carried by Feng Wusheng, so he didn't have a chance. Now that the opportunity was here, Zhao Yong naturally had to grab it tightly and not let it go. Roar! Facing Zhao Yong, who was rushing over from behind, the Dark Emperor roared towards the sky, and immediately several cold lights flew out from his mouth, attacking Zhao Yong. Paltry tricks. Zhao Yong clearly did not place these cold lights in his sights. His sleeves flicked. Immediately, a gust of wind blew past, blocking all of the cold lights that the Dark Emperor attacked. Damn it! If I were in my peak state, I'd definitely be the first to kill you. Seeing that the cold lights that he attacked out were easily blocked, the Dark Emperor cursed secretly. Still dare to behave atrociously in my territory, truly living a poochie. The Dark Emperor's voice had yet to completely fade when he felt his body become light, flying up. Wang Song. At this moment, Wang Song also cooperated and attacked. The Dark Emperor in an injured state was already very taxing to face off against Zhao Yong alone, let alone adding in a Wang Song. 1-on-2, the Dark Emperor practically did not persist for long before being defeated. Fresh blood spurting wildly, the Dark Emperor was close to going berserk. The energy in his body surged. The purple gold wings on his back had an impulse to emerge. Zhao Yong, this black dog's strength isn't considered too strong. The two of us, joining hands, can easily defeat it. Succeeding with one move, Wang Song did not continue attacking. Instead, he turned around and said to Zhao Yong, "You were actually defeated at his hands just now. You were also too careless, right?" Humph! Being mocked by Wang Song, Zhao Yong snorted coldly and said, "Don't be cocky. After this mission ends, I want to spar with you properly." "Anytime," Wang Song said proudly. Roar! Right at this time, the Dark Emperor raised his head to the sky and roared. Immediately, the purple gold wings on his back completely surfaced. What? Heaven-devouring dog. Purple gold heaven-devouring dog. The sudden change made Wang Song and Zhao Yong open their mouths slightly, their faces revealing astonished looks. Ha ha! Feng Wusheng was different from Wang Song they all. After a brief moment of shock, Feng Wusheng laughed wildly and said, "Originally, I thought that the unexpected harvest of the Great Xia Kingdom trip this time was capturing Dan Guzi. Looking at it now, I was wrong, ridiculously wrong. Purple gold heaven-devouring dog, haha, purple gold heaven-devouring dog, ha. One can wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it without even looking for it." Feng Wusheng nearly went crazy. The reason why he would leave the Alchemy Association's headquarters and head to the profound moon continent, the goal was to find the heaven-devouring dog. There was a powerhouse in the Alchemy Association's headquarters that was injured and urgently needed the medicinal pills refined by the heaven-devouring dog to be able to be treated. Originally, Feng Wusheng thought that there was no way. Who would have thought that when the mountain was at the end of the road, there would be light at the end of the tunnel? Encountering the heaven-devouring dog here, furthermore, it was the purple gold heaven-devouring dog. Zhao Yong, Wang Song, go and capture that black dog. Remember, capture it alive. Feng Wusheng did not let excitement get to his head. He knew what he had to do now. Understood. Zhao Yong and Wang Song's brows also revealed excited looks. When they left the Alchemy Association, the upper echelons told them before that as long as they could find the heaven-devouring dog, there would definitely be heavy rewards when they returned. As if seeing the hope of advancing to a Grade 9 Human Supreme, Grade 9 Alchemy Master, Zhao Yong and Wang Song instantly tore through the void, one left and one right, assaulting the Dark Emperor. Rumble. Since they wanted to capture it alive, then Zhao Yong and Wang Song, the two of them, did not deal a killing blow. Instead, they unleashed their auras, pressuring towards the Dark Emperor. Being pressured by Zhao Yong and Wang Song's auras, the Dark Emperor's expression was extremely gloomy. Going all out, the violet gold wings on his back flapped. The Dark Emperor forcefully endured the two terrifying auras, engaging in a great battle with Zhao Yong and Wang Song. Xialan, You take the sword of evil and leave first. I'll hold him back here. Turning his head to look at the Dark Emperor's battlefield, Dan Guzzi sucked in a deep breath, revealing a resolute expression. After transforming into his original body, the Dark Emperor's combat power had risen considerably. Although he was still not Zhao Yong and Wang Song's match, at the very least, he would not be defeated within a short period of time. As for the Sword of Evil and Xialan, they could not help much even if they stay behind. They would only add to the chaos. It was better to hurry and inform Ningyu of the situation over here. As for him, he repeatedly waved his hands, opening his mouth and spitting out several drops of essence blood. Bloodthirst art. Dan Guzzi's eyes turned cold. In the next instant, several drops of essence blood directly exploded in front of him. Following the explosion of essence blood, Dan Guzzi's aura also rapidly soared. Bang! Chapter 12:17. Bitterly enduring. Haha, it's been so long since we last met. Your bloodthirst art seems to have weakened quite a bit. Fang Guosheng seemed to have long since expected that Dan Guzzi would have such a trick up his sleeve. So when Dan Guzzi's aura rose to the mid-rank 9 sovereign realm, he wasn't the slightest bit shocked. Back then, you were only a peak rank 8 sovereign. Using the bloodthirst art, you were able to raise your aura to the peak of the early rank 9 sovereign realm. Now you've regressed greatly. Furthermore, Fang Guosheng paused for a moment and then continued. If my guess is correct, you don't have a bloodthirst pill on you, right? Without a bloodthirst pill, half an hour from now, when the bloodthirst art's effect is at its weakest, all your meridians will snap and you'll die. I don't need you to tell me whether all my meridians will snap or not. Dan Guzzi's expression was extremely calm, so calm that it was a bit frightening. However, Dan Guzzi was only calm on the surface. Inside, he was extremely worried. Fang Guosheng's understanding of him had already reached the peak. Back then, he had killed Fang Guosheng's beloved disciple, causing Fang Guosheng to furiously investigate him. Fang Guosheng even had a thorough understanding of his unique bloodthirst art. Now that Fang Guosheng had a chance to capture him, he definitely wouldn't give it up so easily. So there would definitely be a fierce battle today. Dan Guzzi had already thrown his life to the back of his mind. As long as he could endure until Ningyu and Spirit Void arrived, he would still have a chance of surviving. If he couldn't endure until Ningyu and Spirit Void arrived, he would definitely die. Let's go. Xialan knew how serious this matter was. She took advantage of Dan Guzzi and Fang Guosheng's conversation to grab the sword of Evil's shoulder, tear open space, and enter. Crack! The void shattered, and Xialan and sword Evil Venerable disappeared in an instant. Go! Fang Guosheng didn't seem to care about Xialan and the sword of Evil's disappearance. But as his voice rang out, he also merged into the void. Not good. Seeing Fang Guosheng merge into the void, Dan Guzzi's expression completely changed. Xialan, hurry! Bang! Bang! However, before Dan Guzzi could finish speaking, he came to a sudden stop. Two figures bounced out of the void and landed heavily on the ground. Poochie! Poochie! Both of them spat out a mouthful of blood, and their auras plummeted to rock bottom in an instant. Sword of Evil, Xialan. These two cultivators were none other than Xialan and Sword Venerable, who were trying to escape from this area. Unexpectedly, Fang Guosheng had been waiting for this moment. Two consecutive punches landed on Xialan and the Sword of Evil's chests, severely injuring them. Dan Guzzi, let me see just how much you've improved after all these years. Having successfully blown away Xialan and the Sword of Evil, Fang Guosheng raised his eyebrows and charged at Dan Guzzi. Damn it! Looking at the incoming Fang Guosheng, Dan Guzzi cursed inside. He hastily poured his mental seas far away, go into his wrist, and his fist collided with Fang Guosheng's. Bang! An extremely clear sound rang out. Then, the two figures rapidly retreated. In the first exchange, both sides had been evenly matched. Neither had been able to do anything to the other. Not bad, not bad. You're pretty strong. You were actually able to block 50% of my power. Fang Guosheng rubbed his slightly sore fist. You won't be so lucky next, because I'll be using 100% of my power. Fang Guosheng's eyes shone with a frightening light. He tore through the void and instantly appeared in front of Dan Guzi. The violet yuan qi on his fist gradually expanded in Dan Guzi's eyes. In the end, it slammed into Dan Guzi's chest. Bang! Struck by Fang Guosheng's terrifying punch, Dan Guzi's entire body began to sway, as if he would collapse. It seems your bloodthirst art isn't good enough. Seeing Dan Guzi's miserable appearance, Fang Guosheng's lips curved. Since that's the case, I'll send you to hell. Bloodthirst art, ultimate profundity. Dan Guzi automatically ignored Fang Guosheng's mockery. He repeatedly waved his hands, and several drops of essence blood flew out and floated above his head. In order to increase his strength, Dan Guzi didn't hesitate to use the most terrifying move of the bloodthirst art, the ultimate profundity. Madman, you really are a madman. Although Fang Guosheng's combat power far surpassed Dan Guzi's, after seeing Dan Guzi use the ultimate profundity, he didn't even say a word. He directly chose to retreat. The reason the ultimate profundity was called the ultimate profundity was because of how terrifying it was. In order to use this move, Dan Guzi had even forced out all the essence blood in his body. It was easy to imagine how terrifying a move that consumed all the essence blood of an early rank 9 sovereign was. Fang Guosheng, I'll take you down with me today. After igniting all his essence blood, Dan Guzi's aura once more began to rise at a terrifying speed. 9th grade intermediate human supreme martial artist. 9th grade peak intermediate human supreme martial artist bang. Following a muffled explosion, Dan Guzi's aura broke through his limit and reached the terrifying late rank 9 sovereign realm. Through their previous exchange, Dan Guzi had realized that although Fang Guosheng was strong, he still wasn't a late rank 9 sovereign. Fang Guosheng's cultivation base was only at the peak of the mid-rank 9 sovereign realm. His strength was still a bit off from the late rank 9 sovereign realm. Otherwise, Dan Guzi definitely wouldn't have used the ultimate profundity. Fang Guosheng was very clear on the current situation. He knew that if he just kept running, there was no way he could escape. After cursing under his breath, Fang Guosheng took out a scroll from his bosom and threw it into the air. Explode! With a flick of his finger, a cold light shot out and struck the scroll. The scroll collided with the cold light and immediately exploded. Rumble! Once the scroll exploded, a terrifying shockwave spread out with Dan Guzi at the center. My eyes. My arm. Who saw my arm? My leg. You stepped on my leg. Just what the hell is that scroll? Why is the shockwave so strong? If I'd known, I wouldn't have stayed. All sorts of screams rang out as the scroll exploded. On the other side, the Dark Emperor and Zhao Yong immediately stopped fighting and hastily retreated. Because the scroll had been taken out by Fang Guosheng, he had made preparations beforehand. Fang Guosheng's entire body was surging with energy, barely managing to block the shockwave from the scroll's explosion. As for Dan Guzi, he wasn't so lucky. Not only did he have to protect himself, but he also had to help the Sword of Evil and Xiaolan. Yuan Qi surged out of his mental sea, forming a protective barrier around him. Chapter 12:18. Say, we can't go on like this. We have to think of something. Within the Yuan Qi barrier, Dan Guzi's expression darkened as he racked his brains for a countermeasure. In his current situation, even if he could withstand the aftermath of the scroll explosion, he would still fall into Fang Guosheng's hands. Dan Guzi wasn't an indecisive person. In order to fight Fang Guosheng and buy time for the Sword of Evil and Xiaolan, he didn't hesitate to use the last move of bloodlust, the ultimate profundity. Who would have thought that Fang Guosheng would have a backup plan? He actually took out a terrifying scroll. At the center of the scroll, Dan Guzi could clearly feel his aura rapidly weakening. In just a few seconds, his aura had dropped from the late-stage 9th grade Human Supreme Master to the middle-stage 9th grade Human Supreme Master. Let's fight. Guzi's eyes grew cold and the energy in his mind sea surged. He quickly gathered it on his fist. Dan Guzzi's goal was very clear. He wanted to blow away the shockwaves from the explosion and send them toward Fang Guosheng. Success or failure, it all depended on this. Dan Guzzi didn't dare to be careless. As he poured his energy into his fist, he paid close attention to Fang Guosheng's movements. Only when Fang Guosheng let his guard down could this plan succeed. Otherwise, it was very likely to fail. Buzz. What Dan Guzzi didn't know was that although Fang Guosheng hadn't noticed his movements, a martial artist up in the air had seen everything. Bloodthirst. To think that I would encounter someone from the alchemy union here. There was an old man in the void. He took out a crystal ball and looked at it carefully. He mumbled, "I can feel that the person who killed DE is in the capital." However, at this point, the old man paused and said doubtfully, "The aura disappeared when it reached here." With the help of the crystal ball, the elder tracked them all the way to the capital of the Xia kingdom. Initially, they had thought that they would be able to find the martial artist who had killed DE. Who would have thought that the martial artist's aura would disappear completely? Under this premise, the old man naturally would not leave the capital. Instead, he chose to stay in the capital and investigate in secret. Let's wait a little longer. Taking a deep breath, the old man gradually merged with the void. Fang Guosheng. Just at this moment, Dan Guzzi shouted, drawing Fang Guosheng's attention to him. What? As expected, Fang Guosheng was drawn over by Pil Guzzi's shout. As soon as his attention fell on Dan Guzzi, Fang Guosheng's expression completely changed. Fang Guosheng wasn't an idiot. When he saw Dan Guzzi's terrifying energy, he was completely dumbfounded. At this moment, Fang Guosheng guessed what Pil Guzzi was planning on doing. Block. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, Fang Guosheng desperately sent out his essence, forming a protective essence barrier around him. Rumble. The barrier hadn't even fully formed when Dan Guzzi's right fist smashed out. The shockwaves from the explosion of the scrolls turned around and surrounded Fang Guosheng tightly. Kacha! Kacha! The Yuan Qi barrier that Fang Guosheng had set up was obviously not enough. Several crisp cracking sounds rang out. Cracks had appeared on the Yuan energy barrier around Fang Guosheng's body. At this rate, it was only a matter of time before the Yuan energy barrier shattered. Elder Fang, we're here to help you. At the critical moment, Zhao Yong and Wang Song gritted their teeth and rushed out in unison. The vigorous essence qi in their bodies was brought out, resisting the aftermath of the scroll explosion together with Fang Guosheng. Zhao Yong and Wang Song were both peak 8th grade human sovereigns. Regardless of whether it was soul force or essence qi, they were abnormally vigorous. With their addition, Fang Guosheng immediately felt the pressure decrease manifold. Ha ha! Pressure decreasing. Fang Guosheng threw his head back and laughed loudly as he said, Dan Guzzi, when the aftermath of the scroll explosion dissipates, that will be the day you guys are killed. Originally, Fang Guosheng could very easily kill Dan Guzzi, but he wanted to make Dan Guzzi suffer. Now, if not for bringing Zhao Yong and Wang Song, he would even be counterkilled. After experiencing so many things, Fang Guosheng finally understood a principle. Toward enemies, one absolutely could not let them off. If they could kill, kill. Damn it, just a little bit more. Dan Guzzi's expression was very ugly. Seeing as he was about to succeed, who knew that Zhao Yong and Wang Song rushed out halfway, causing him to fall short at the last moment. Oh, right, where's the Dark Emperor? Shifting his gaze, Dan Guzzi's heart turned cold. In the surroundings, Dan Guzzi did not discover any traces of the Dark Emperor. Could it be that the Dark Emperor went to inform Ningyu and Dan Guzzi? Thinking up to here, Dan Guzzi's originally dispirited thoughts became lively again. As long as Ningyu rushed over, he still had a ray of hope. The urgent matter was to do his best to persevere until Ningyu and Empyrean Spirit Void came over. Crack. Dreams were very rich, but reality was very bony. Just 3 minutes later, the aftermath of the scroll explosion thoroughly dissipated. The dissipation of the aftermath signified that Fang Guosheng was completely liberated. Dan Guzzi, This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. It had never been like right now. Fong Guosheng wanted to kill someone. The aftermath had just dissipated when Fong Guosheng tore through the void and arrived in front of Dan Guzi. His right hand clenched into a fist and suddenly punched out. Even though Dan Guzi's aura dropped to peak middle stage, 9th grade human sovereign, his combat power was still present. Similarly, his right hand clenched into a fist, colliding with Fong Guosheng's fist unavoidably. Two fists collided. Crack! Arg! Two sounds rang out in quick succession. The first sound came from the bones in Dan Guzi's fist shattering. The second sound came from Dan Guzi's miserable shriek. Dan Guzi, Fong Guosheng, said that I would kill you, so I will definitely kill you. I always keep my word. Fong Guosheng's lips curled up in a smile. His target was the injured Dan Guzi. Fong Guosheng, you're too arrogant. At this critical moment, a cold snort rang out. Swish! As the cold snort rang out, several figures shot out from the void. The martial artist at the very front tore through the void and punched at Fong Guosheng. Zwakang. This sudden change caused Fong Guosheng's heart to shake. Disregarding all consequences, Fong Guosheng once more clenched his right hand into a fist, clashing head-on with Zwakang. Swish! Swish! After this exchange, Fong Guosheng and Zwakang both took several steps back. The two sides were equally matched. Fong Guosheng, our goal is to deal with Dan Ming. Since you've come to the capital, why didn't you come find me? Zwakang's voice was cold as he landed in front of Dan Guzi. Don't waste your breath. I know why you saved Dan Guzi. Fong Guosheng's voice was low. If it wasn't for Dan Guzi, the devil paragon of the Xianhua Continent's Alchemy Union would definitely have died in the headquarters of the Alchemy Union. Since you know, then hurry up and scram. Chapter 12:19. Arrive. You want to save Dan Guzi? Fong Guosheng's gaze swept over the elder, Zwakang, and the others. Then his expression turned extremely cold. That depends on whether or not you have the ability to do so. Let me remind you, don't be too arrogant, said the elder. Your cultivation base is the same as ours. You're all not good. The elder's expression changed before he could finish speaking, because he saw Fong Guosheng's feet on the ground, and he was charging towards him at an extremely shocking speed. Although their cultivation bases were the same, Du Chong was clear that he wasn't Fong Guosheng's match. Fong Guosheng was a peak mid-rank 9 sovereign, while he had just advanced to the mid-rank 9 sovereign realm. The difference between the two was enormous, even greater than the heavens. Bang! The difference in strength was huge, and the result was obvious. A muffled sound rang out, and Du Chong's body was sent flying, crashing heavily onto the ground. Zwakang, not only will Dan Guzi die today, even you will. I'll kill you. After sending Du Chong flying, Fong Guosheng turned to look at Zwakang. He was just about to spit out some vicious words, but his jaw dropped. Fong Guosheng realized that Zwakang had already moved to save Dan Guzi and the others. Fong Guosheng's expression was extremely unsightly. It was extremely unsightly. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have held back when he had punched Du Chong. But now, Dan Guzi had been saved, and Du Chong's life wasn't in danger. Dan Guzi, what are you doing here? Zwakang asked curiously after saving Dan Guzi. Now isn't the time to talk about this. I'll explain everything once we deal with Fong Guosheng. Dan Guzi knew what was most important. That was to join hands to deal with Fong Guosheng, not talk here. Deal with me? Fong Guosheng coldly said. It's been a long time since I've exercised my muscles. Today I'll fight you. Fong Guosheng dashed out instantly as the word "man" rang out. Go! Zwakang and the others didn't dare to be careless in the face of Fong Guosheng. They immediately charged forward to fight. The battle between the 4 9th grade human supremes created a huge commotion, with shockwaves flying everywhere. Let's fight in the sky. Pil Guzi was very clear that if this battle continued, the capital would definitely be affected. After all, the 4 of them were 9th grade mortal supremes and could easily destroy the capital. Whoosh! Whoosh! Whoosh, whoosh. The four figures instantly disappeared into the void. Rumble. Although Pil Goozy and the others were fighting in the sky, there were still occasional shockwaves. Every shockwave caused a house to fall apart. Zwakong and Du Chong, the two old dogs, are gone. Now, let us play with you. Zhao Yong and Wang Song exchanged a glance, both seeing thick interest from the other party's eyes. The three cultivators that Zwakong had brought along were all peak 8th grade human sovereigns. They were the higher-ups of the mystic Moon Continent's Alchemy Union. Although their cultivation levels were similar, the difference in their battle prowess was like heaven and earth. Zhao Yong and Wang Song joining hands, they would probably be able to defeat the three of them very soon. Swoosh! Attacking as soon as they said they would, Zhao Yong and Wang Song rose from the ground and charged at the three martial artists that Zwakong brought over. Damn it! Seeing as Zhao Yong and Wang Song were about to arrive beside him, Ding Cheng's expression was very ugly. After secretly cursing, he immediately retreated. Ding Cheng's battle prowess was the strongest one among the three of them. As for the other two, Zhoda and Mo Shan, their cultivation had just advanced to peak 8th grade mortal supremes. Even joining hands, they could not contend with Ding Cheng. Under this premise, the three of them had no way of contending with Wang Song and Zhao Yong. Rumble. Being unable to contend did not mean that they would resign themselves to death. With Ding Cheng taking the lead, Zhoda and Mo Shan, the three of them started a great battle with Wang Song and Zhao Yong. Bang! The great battle had just erupted when Mo Shan was seized by Zhao Yong, blasting several dozen feet back with a punch. Poochie! Fresh blood spurted wildly. Mo Shan's aura plummeted rapidly. Ho, silver spearwax head. Nice to look at, but useless. Defeating Mo Shan in one move, Zhao Yong curled his mouth and said, I'll let you live for a few more minutes first. After dealing with Ding Cheng and Zhoda, I'll come back and slowly take care of you. Bang! Bang! On this side, Zhao Yong easily defeated Mo Shan. On the other side, Wang Song even fought 1 against 2 and did not fall into a disadvantage. Furthermore, after fighting for a few minutes, Wang Song seized a rare opportunity and easily defeated Zhoda and Ding Cheng. From the start of the battle to the end of the battle, merely 3 to 4 minutes passed. Zhao Yong, Ding Cheng, and Zhoda belong to me. Mo Shan belongs to you. After the battle ended, it was naturally the time to divide the spoils of war. Not good, right? Half each. I want Ding Cheng and Mo Shan's half. Zhoda and Mo Shan's other half belongs to you, Zhao Yong said hesitantly with slightly furrowed brows. Wang Song shook his head and said, You can't say it like that. Whoever defeats them belongs to them. How about this? Let's not argue either. Exchange a punch. Whoever wins, the three of them belong to them. Thinking about it, Zhao Yong said, Good idea. Raising his brows, Wang Song instantly charged out. His fist contained berserk essence energy undulations, smashing fiercely toward Zhao Yong. F***CK. Zhao Yong did not think that Wang Song would make a move so decisively. He did not dare to dally and immediately poured essence energy into his wrist. With a backhand punch, it collided with Wang Song's fist that could not be avoided. The exchange of 2 peak grade 8 human sovereigns. Although the aftershock was not as powerful as a grade 9 human sovereign, it still affected the surrounding Ding Cheng and the rest. Puff, puff, spurting fresh blood continuously, the originally heavily injured Ding Cheng and the rest had even weaker auras at this time, their complexions pale. After one move, Zhao Yong retreated 3 steps, while Wang Song merely retreated 2.5 steps. The result was obvious. Zhao Yong's expression was extremely ugly. Lost. Ha ha. Zhao Yong, thanks for letting me win. Ding Cheng and the rest belong to me? Laughing loudly, Wang Song's footsteps moved, walking towards Ding Cheng and the rest. Belong to you? Did you ask me before? Right at this time, a faint voice came out from the void. Whoosh. Closely following these faint words was a black figure that swept out. Not good. Seeing the black figure, Wang Song's mind turned cold, hurriedly retreating. It was just that Wang Song's attention was all on Ding Cheng and the rest. Shifting his attention now was clearly too late. Bang! The black figure's speed was very fast, arriving in front of Wang Song in a blink of an eye. A move slammed onto Wang Song's chest. The massive force that came from his chest made Wang Song fly out. However, Wang Song was well-deserving of being a peak grade 8 human sovereign. His body that was flying out forcefully stopped in midair. Swallowing the sweetness in his throat, Wang Song said viciously, "Damn dog, I spared your life earlier. Not only do you not know how to cherish it, you even came to sneak attack me instead. Idiot." The Dark Emperor rolled his eyes at Wang Song and said in disdain, "If not for me being injured, do you think that the two of you joining hands would be my match? Now that I'm standing here, it means that your death date has arrived." Chapter 1220. Grab firmly. We didn't see wrongly. I'm just a peak grade 3 human supreme. Nodding his head, Ningyu answered, "Ha ha ha." Wang Song seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. He first threw his head back and laughed wildly, then said sinisterly, "A peak grade 3 human supreme actually dares to speak to me like this. Really tired of living. Ningyu, what's the point of talking crap with him? They're great tonics." Being bullied by Wang Song and Zhao Yong earlier made the Dark Sovereign very furious in his heart. The Dark Sovereign did not wish to waste time. He only had one thought in his heart, and that was to kill Wang Song and Zhao Yong, then devour them. Although devouring Wang Song and Zhao Yong had no way of advancing to grade 4 human supreme, his strength would ultimately increase a little. Reaching the Dark Sovereign's level, every bit of increase in strength was very difficult. Now that there was a chance, the Dark Sovereign naturally would not let it go. Great tonics? Indeed an arrogant dog. Hearing the Dark Sovereign's words, Wang Song's brows raised up and he said sinisterly, "Today, I'll let you all know that there's always someone better and heaven beyond heaven." At the same time the cold snort sounded out, Wang Song tore open the void and tunneled in. The current me has already recovered to my peak state. It's already unrealistic for you to want to bully me like just now. Our identities should be swapped. Regarding Wang Song entering the void, the Dark Sovereign did not take it to heart. One-on-one, the Dark Sovereign did not fear either Wang Song or Zhao Yong. Crack! You tear open the void, I'll similarly tear open the void. The Dark Sovereign tunneled into the void, wanting to find trouble with Wang Song. Whoosh! However, the Dark Sovereign had just tunneled into the void when his expression changed drastically. Because the Dark Sovereign discovered that Wang Song had already gushed out of the void since God knows when, arriving in front of the Sword of Evil. Smack! Grabbing the Sword of Evil's shoulder fiercely with his right hand, Wang Song said viciously, "Damn dog, trash grade 3 human supreme. I urge you guys better come over and kowtow a few times to me. Otherwise, I'll cripple him." Crack, crack. While talking, Wang Song's palm exerted a little force, pinching the Sword of Evil's shoulder until it gave off cracking sounds. "Zhao Yong, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and take control of Ding Cheng and the others," Wang Song said while controlling the Sword of Evil. "I don't need you to teach me what to do." Zhao Yong had yet to walk out of the shadow of being defeated by Wang Song. He said coldly, "Ding Cheng and the rest belong to you. It has nothing to do with me." "Fool," Wang Song berated, "if you don't want to die, you'd best do as I say." "I won't die even if I don't do as you say." Zhao Yong did not take Wang Song's words to heart in the slightest. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and said indifferently, in Zhao Yong's view, Ningyu is only a pinnacle grade 3 human sovereign, and his strength wouldn't be that strong. But the Dark Emperor's strength was very formidable. As long as the Dark Emperor and Wang Song exchanged blows, both sides would surely suffer heavy losses. Under the premise that both sides were injured, he could easily gain control of Ding Cheng and the others. Thinking about how he would be able to advance further after devouring Ding Cheng and the others, Zhao Yong even felt a little excited and could not help but laugh out loud. Who says that you won't die even if you don't do as he says? A nonchalant voice sounded out beside Zhao Yong's ear. That's right. No, wait. It's you. Zhao Yong nodded his head subconsciously and answered. However, his voice had just said halfway when Zhao Yong's eyes widened, his right hand hurriedly blasting out. Ningyu. No idea when Ningyu already arrived in front of him. In Ningyu's hands was a blood-red flying sword. On the sword body, thick essence energy pulsed continuously. Slash. Zhao Yong, wanting to block it this time, was clearly already too late. Ningyu swiftly brandished the red fiend sword in his hands, stabbing viciously into Zhao Yong's heart area. In order to be able to kill Zhao Yong in one move, not only did Ningyu pour all of his essence energy into the red fiend sword, he even wrapped the strength of initial stage grade 8 soul force around the red fiend sword. Ample preparation, formidable strength. With these two prerequisites, Ningyu stabbed the red fiend sword into Zhao Yong's heart very effortlessly. Sensing the horrifying, devouring power emitting off the red fiend sword, Zhao Yong could not resist crying out wildly, Wang Song, save me! Quickly save me! In order to survive, Zhao Yong completely forgot the arrogance and disdain earlier, pinning his hopes on Wang Song. Damn it! Wang Song's expression flickered incessantly. Honestly speaking, he had confidence in dealing with Ningyu in the beginning. But seeing Ningyu's horrifying offensive, he instantly lost confidence. Furthermore, apart from Ningyu, there was still an Dark Sovereign eyeing covetously. Save Zhao Yong? You have got to be kidding. Wang Song firmly remembered one point. As long as he controlled the Sword of Evil, Ningyu would not dare to do anything to him. Wang Song, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Seeing Wang Song's cold and gloomy expression, Zhao Yong nearly despaired. Become a ghost? You can't even become a ghost. The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled up. His wrist shook, and he directly brought out the myriad ghosts' holy flag. Whoosh! A soul swept out from inside the myriad ghosts' holy flag, tunneling into Zhao Yong's sea of consciousness. Whoosh! Whoosh! Following that, two streaks of cold light flew out of Zhao Yong's sea of consciousness, entering the myriad ghosts' holy flag once more. Thud! On the other hand, Zhao Yong's two eyes rolled back, falling straight to the ground. Can't waste it! The Dark Sovereign had sharp eyes and nimble hands, hurriedly rushing out, two claws grabbing Zhao Yong's shoulders and flying to other places. Brat! Where did that damn dog bring Zhao Yong to? Although he said that he did not care about Zhao Yong's life or death, the current situation, Wang Song still had to inquire. Relax, it'll be your turn in a while. Ningyu's voice was still very calm as he said, the two of your fates were already destined from the moment you guys opposed the Dark Sovereign. Want to kill me? Ha ha ha. I have your weakness in my hands. What right do you have to kill me? Wang Song laughed wildly and said, as long as you dare to approach me half a step more, I'll send him to the Western Paradise. Whoosh! Right at this time, the Dark Sovereign flew over from afar alone. Damn dog, where's Zhao Yong? Seeing the Dark Sovereign return alone, Wang Song said in a cold voice, if you dare to kill Zhao Yong, Elder Fong definitely won't let you off. Elder Fong? If I didn't guess wrongly, it should be that person being besieged in the void, right? Ningyu said coolly. Humph. Good that you know. Give you guys a word of advice. Best not act rashly without careful consideration. Otherwise, Elder Fong will send you guys to hell. Wang Song said in a cold voice, as if he had a well-thought-out plan. Delicious, truly delicious. The Dark Sovereign stuck his tongue out, licked his lips, stared at Wang Song with a scorching look, and said, that guy just now was too skinny and weak, not even enough to fill the crevices between my teeth. You're not bad, rather fat. You should be able to let me eat my fill. Why you? You ate Zhao Yong? Wang Song's eyes opened wide, a look of horror written all over his face. Zhao Yong was the same as him, both peak 8th grade human supreme. Although his strength was a little stronger than Zhao Yong's, it could virtually be ignored. Now, even Zhao Yong was devoured. One could imagine his outcome would not be much better either. Thinking up to here, Wang Song grabbed the sword of evil firmly, not daring to relax in the slightest. Chapter 12:21. See-through. What's the big deal? Isn't it just eating a person? Is there a need to scare you until like this? Curling his lips, the Dark Emperor said, "If I wanted to swallow you up, I would have long made a move. How could I possibly wait until now?" Dark Emperor, you go and take a look at the sword of evil and Xiaolonei too. Assist them to recover as soon as possible. Leave the matters here to me to settle. Waving his hand, Ningyu indicated for the Dark Emperor to go and take care of the sword of evil they all first. Although Wang Song was a peak grade 8 human supreme, with Ningyu's current strength, he did not fear at all. It was just a matter of time for Ningyu to want to kill Wang Song. The reason why Ningyu did not choose to kill Wang Song straight away was entirely because he wanted to know what Wang Song they all came over for, why they came to the Great Xia Kingdom. Recently, more and more powerhouses appeared in the Great Xia Kingdom. In the cultivation of these powerhouses, the majority were high-level human sovereigns. Rising winds and scudding clouds, it was really rising winds and scudding clouds. Shaking his head, Ningyu temporarily tossed aside the thoughts in his mind. He extended 3 fingers towards Wang Song and said, 3 questions. As long as you answer 3 of my questions honestly, I guarantee that I won't kill you. What questions? Wang Song saw the situation before him clearly. Ningyu and the Dark Emperor. He could not afford to provoke them. Under this premise, he could only feign civility and drag the time as much as possible. Towards Fang Wusheng, Wang Song had an almost obsessive trust. Forget about 4 grade 9 human sovereigns encircling Fang Wusheng together. Even if 8 or 10 people encircled at the same time, Wang Song would not have the slightest bit of worry either. In the massive alchemy association, the martial artists who knew Fang Wusheng's true strength, apart from him, there was probably no one else. Back then, he saw Fang Wusheng in a forest. At that time, Fang Wusheng was surrounded by 3 powerhouses. 2 peak middle stage grade 9 human sovereigns, 1 late stage grade 9 supreme. But such a powerful lineup was also defeated and killed by Fang Wusheng. Ever since then, Wang Song was even more determined to follow behind Fang Wusheng. Because Fang Wusheng, this person, was too terrifying. With Elder Fang's strength, he will probably win in half an hour. In other words, I only need to delay him for half an hour. Wang Song's eyes swiveled, and he continued, forget about 3 questions. Even if it's 10 questions, I'll tell you. Oh, hearing Wang Song's words, Ningyu's brows rose, and he said, you're quite smart. This isn't a question of being smart or not. When one is under someone else's roof, one has no choice but to lower one's head. Besides, I haven't lived enough yet. At this moment, Wang Song seemed to have seen through something. His tone was calm, without joy or sorrow. Kiki, it is much easier to converse with intelligent people. Ningyu let out a smile and said, first question, why did you come to the Great Xia Kingdom? We want to kill Zhuokang. And Zhuokang received news from Dong He that a pill puppet appeared in the Great Xia Kingdom. He wants Zhuokang to come over and provide assistance. Wang Song said, since Zhuokang is coming to the Great Xia Kingdom, we naturally have to follow. Apart from killing Zhuokang, what else do you want? Ningyu continued to ask. Find the heaven swallowing hound. Wang Song didn't have the slightest hesitation as he replied, an upper echelon from the Elixir Completion Continent's Alchemist Union headquarters is injured. He needs to consume an elixir refined by the heaven swallowing hound to recover. You can say it like this. Our main mission is to find the heaven swallowing hound. Our secondary mission is to kill Zhuokang. This matter about the Dark Emperor being a heaven swallowing hound, apart from the few of you, is there anyone else who knows? Ningyu asked again. Yes. Wang Song nodded and said, Fang Wusheng had already sent the news back to the Elixir Completion Continent's Alchemist Union. I reckon that after a period of time, someone from the Alchemist Union will come over to receive us. After asking these questions, Ningyu's expression became rather gloomy. Things seemed to be developing in an uncontrollable direction. Fang Wusheng's strength was already heaven-defying enough. He didn't fall into a disadvantageous position even when fighting against four by himself. Instead, he even had the upper hand. It was imaginable how formidable the strength of the injured upper echelon that made Fang Guosheng personally come out to find the heaven-swallowing hound. What headache! Originally, after killing the Saber Mountain Venerable, Ningyu's goal was very clear. Let Empyrean Spirit Void save his father first, then think of a way to go to the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Who could have thought that a Fang Guosheng would charge out halfway, thoroughly messing up his plans? Right now, his father Ninghai had not completely woken up yet. The matters were all piled up here, giving him a huge headache. Should I make a move or not? Seeing Ningyu's appearance, Wang Song seriously burst forth with a hint of a fierce look. Wang Song was very clear that right now was the best opportunity to make a move and kill Ningyu. Missing this village, there would not be this shop anymore. But Wang Song was also very clear that once he failed, then his outcome would be the same as Zhao Yong, being devoured by the Dark Emperor. Wang Song was very conflicted in his heart. Fight it out. After a short period of musing, Wang Song still made a bold decision. Make a move and kill Ningyu. In order to be able to succeed in one move, Wang Song twined peak tier 8 soul force around his left hand, the essence in his sea of consciousness twining around his right hand. Bang! Bang! 2 punches slammed out. Immediately, 2 streaks of astonishing fist light charged toward Ningyu, one in front and one behind. Chi! The first streak of fist light was completely formed from soul force. In a blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Ningyu. Humph! At the critical moment, Ningyu gave a cold snort, then brought out the red fiend sword that he carried around with him, slashing out with the sword. Shred! The red fiend sword's speed was very fast, directly cleaving Wang Song's soul-cold light into 2 halves. Whoosh! At the same time, Wang Song's second streak of fist light already arrived above the top of Ningyu's head, suddenly rumbling down. Universe Palm. Ningyu put away the red fiend sword unhurriedly, then pushed out with his right hand horizontally. Accompanied by a low cry sounding out in his mouth, a horrifying palm print stripped out from Ningyu's palm. Smack! 2 palm prints collided. That kind of horrifying aftershock did not appear. Instead, the 2 palm prints both dissipated. What's going on? This kind of change clearly exceeded Wang Song's expectations. Towards the palm print that he displayed, Wang Song was very confident. Now, the palm print that he was proud of was easily blasted apart. How could Wang Song possibly not be shocked? How could he possibly not be dumbfounded? Wang Song, I gave you a chance before. It was you who didn't know how to cherish it. Right at this time, Ningyu's nonchalant words sounded out by Wang Song's ear. Following that, Ningyu's body gradually became illusory. Not good. Ningyu's body had just disappeared when Wang Song realized that things were not good and hurriedly retreated. However, Wang Song's retreat speed was clearly half a beat slower. His footsteps had yet to move in time when Ningyu appeared in front of him. Right hand holding the red fiend sword, he stabbed straight into his heart. Puchi! A large mouthful of dark red, fresh blood spewed out. Wang Song lowered his head and looked at a blood-red flying sword stabbed in the area of his heart. His face revealed a look of despair. Your strength, why is it so strong? The moment before death, Wang Song used all the strength in his body to roar out. Secretly telling you, it's not that my strength is strong, but it's that you're stupid, only caring about escaping. If you clash head-on with me, you'll at least have a 10% chance of winning. Chapter 1222. The situation is critical. You. Hearing Ningyu's words, Wang Song's eyes opened wide, his face full of regret. Extending his right hand and pointing at Ningyu, Wang Song opened his mouth, wanting to say something. But before the words came out, his body tilted and he fell heavily onto the ground. At this moment, the Peak Grade 8 Alchemy Master from the Alchemy Association headquarters, Peak Grade 8 Human Supreme, Wang Song, died in battle. Whoosh! Where there was delicacies, there was the Dark Emperor. Wang Song had just died when the Dark Emperor flew over from the side. Two front claws firmly grabbed Wang Song's sword light, tearing through the void and tunneling inside. Ningyu had black lines all over his face. The Dark Emperor's speed was also too fast, right? He had yet to have time to search through Wang Song's body when the Dark Emperor brought Wang Song away. "Leave the things on Wang Song for me." Ningyu was indignant. One had to know Wang Song was the Alchemy Association headquarters peak grade 8 alchemy master. There were bound to be many good treasures on him. The Dark Emperor had a big mouth, eating people without spitting out the bones. Wang Song landing in his hands, there was an 80% chance that he would be devoured into dregs. Sha. Sure enough, roughly 3 minutes later, the Dark Emperor sped over from afar alone. "Dark Emperor, can you not be so gluttonous?" Seeing that the Dark Emperor did not bring anything back, Ningyu was immediately angered and said, "Just this once, don't do it again. If you dare to be like this again, I guarantee that you can forget about touching any martial artist you encounter in the future. Isn't it just a peak grade 8 human supreme? What's the big deal?" Rolling a glance at Ningyu, the Dark Emperor continued to help the Sword of Evil. Relatively speaking, Xielan's injuries were very light. The Dark Emperor helped her recover to her peak state very quickly. The Sword of Evil's injuries were heavier. Even with the Dark Emperor's help, he would not recover so quickly either. "Let me." Ningyu pulled the Dark Emperor away and placed both his hands on the Sword of Evil's back. An endless stream of vital energy entered the Sword of Evil's body. At the same time, Ningyu sent a portion of his perception into the Sword of Evil's body and began to examine the Sword of Evil's injuries. "Fortunately, my 5 viscera and 6 bowels are not shattered." After examining the Sword of Evil's body, Ningyu heaved a sigh of relief. The Sword of Evil's injuries weren't very serious. Under such circumstances, coupled with his treatment, he believed that he would recover very quickly. The only problem was that even if the Sword of Evil was cured, the Sword of Evil would not be able to return to its peak state in a short period of time. Recuperation. The Sword of Evil would need at least 10 days to fully recover. The two of you. On the other side, Ding Chung saw that Ningyu was treating the Sword of Evil. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but hesitated. To be honest, Ding Chung was still very grateful to Ningyu and the Dark Emperor. If not for Ningyu and the Dark Emperor arriving in time, Zhou and the rest would have long been killed by Wang Song and the rest. Now that he saw Ningyu treating the Sword of Evil, Ding Chung felt that he had to help and could not stand by the side. "Ningyu, they're calling you." As the Sword of Evil's injuries were very special, with Ningyu's help, he was able to speak very quickly. The Sword of Evil understood his own situation very well. As long as he could speak, he could recuperate on his own. There was no need for Ningyu to expend his own vital energy to treat him. Coincidentally, at this time, Ding Chung and the rest wanted to say something but hesitated. Hence, the Sword of Evil said to Ningyu, "Go take a look. I can handle it myself. Be careful." Ningyu retracted his palm from the Sword of Evil's back and said. After thinking about it, Ningyu still felt worried and said, "Dark Emperor, send the Sword of Evil and Xielan to the royal family and let Ouyang Luan arrange a quiet place for them." Leaving this sentence, regardless of whether the Dark Emperor listened or not, Ningyu got up and walked towards Ding Chung. How troublesome. As the saying goes, take it easy, eat it easy. The Dark Emperor had devoured Zhao Yong and Wang Song one after another. This was a classic example of eating the shortest of others. Helpless, the Dark Emperor could only obediently bring the Sword of Evil and Xielan to the royal family. As for Ningyu, he had long arrived beside Ding Chung and said, "What Wang Song said just now, I believe you heard it too. I want to know how many words are trustworthy." Ningyu is not so gullible. No matter how pleasant Wang Song's words were, he would not believe them all. He would only judge based on his understanding of the situation. Almost all of them are correct. Talking with Ningyu, Ding Chung did not dare to be neglectful and hurriedly said, "We've analyzed it before. The reason why Fong Guosheng they all are following behind us is largely because they want to kill us. Why didn't they make a move on the way? Ningyu said doubtfully. With Fang Guoxing's 1 versus 4 combat strength, killing Zhuokang and the rest along the way was probably effortless. Why wait until now to make a move? It was a complete waste of time. Maybe they don't want to shed all pretense of cordiality with profound Moon Continent's alchemy union. Thinking about it, Ding Cheng said, profound Moon Continent's alchemy union's upper echelons know that we're together. Furthermore, we all have positioning crystal balls on us. As long as we're killed along the way, profound Moon Continent's alchemy union's upper echelons will definitely know that it was Fang Guosheng who made a move. But Great Xia Empire is different. The news we received is that a powerful pill puppet appeared in Great Xia Empire. Fang Guosheng made a move here without any restraints. Even if the alchemy union's upper echelons pursue the matter, he can also pass this pot to the pill puppet and let the pill puppet take the blame. So that's how it is. Ningyu said, since you guys know that Fang Guosheng made a move against you, then why didn't you guys make any countermeasures? Elder Zhua and Elder do have countermeasures. Otherwise, do you think that they can persist until now? Ding Cheng said. What do you mean? Ningyu was a little puzzled as he asked. Fang Guosheng is too strong, ridiculously strong. Sucking in a deep breath, Ding Cheng continued. Although Fang Guosheng is only a middle-stage grade 9 alchemy master, his overall strength might surpass ordinary late-stage grade 9 sovereign. Ningyu, the most important thing now is to gather all the high-level human sovereigns in the Great Xia Empire and attack Fang Guosheng together. Zhou De, who was beside Ding Cheng, said anxiously. Fool! Ding Cheng scolded. Fang Guosheng is a middle-stage grade 9 sovereign. Even if all the high-level human sovereigns in the Great Xia Empire come together, they won't be able to contend against Fang Guosheng. Is that all we can do? Zhou De gritted his teeth. There is a way, but we have to contact Elder Zhua and the rest first. Ding Cheng's eyes flickered with uncertainty. He seemed to have made up his mind as he said, I know of a formation that can transfer the energy of the other 7 people to 1 person. What array? Zhou De asked doubtfully. There are many arrays that could transfer energy to another person. Zhou De knew at least 3 to 4 of them. Although those arrays could transfer energy to a single person, most of them had a limit. In other words, the cultivation of the 8 cultivators in the array couldn't exceed grade 5 sovereign. The strongest array could only raise the cultivation of the cultivators in the array to grade 6 sovereign. Arrays of this level were useless to them. Chapter 1223. Never go back on one's word. The 8 Immortals Formation. Ding Cheng said in a low voice. 8 Immortals Formation. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat as a horrified expression appeared on his face. He had seen someone use the 8 Immortals Formation in his previous life. At that time, 8 pinnacle 9th grade sovereign realm human sovereigns were forced into a cave with an Earth sovereign eyeing them from outside. In the end, the 8 pinnacle 9th grade human sovereigns unleashed the 8 Immortals Formation, forcibly raising the battle prowess of one of the 9th grade human sovereigns to the Earth sovereign realm, and successfully killed the Earth sovereign guarding the cave. If they could use the 8 Immortals Formation, they might really be able to defeat Fang Guosheng. Something's wrong. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to think of something and said solemnly, I remember that setting up the 8 Immortals Grand Array requires time and a large number of Emperor-grade origin crystals. Let's not talk about the Emperor-grade origin crystals. Just the problem of time is something we can't solve. Ningyu's reaction was beyond Ding Cheng's expectations. Even in the Alchemy Union, not many people knew about the 8 Immortals Great Array. If he had not seen a book in a hidden cave, even he would not have known about the 8 Immortals Formation. Based on Ningyu's current state, it was clear that he understood the 8 Immortals Formation very well. In fact, he had even used it before. Thinking of this, Ding Cheng said, My 8 Immortals Formation doesn't need time. I've already set it up. As he spoke, Ding Cheng took out a scroll from his bosom and waved it around. Sealed within this scroll is the 8 Immortals Formation. A sealed 8 Immortals Formation. Ningyu was a little suspicious. He had heard of the Eight Immortals formation and had seen people use it. However, he had never seen the Eight Immortals Grand Array sealed in the scroll. "What do you want to do?" Ningyu asked. Ding Cheng did not answer Ningyu. Instead, he flicked his wrist and tossed the scroll to Ningyu. "Huh." Grabbing the scroll, Ningyu asked curiously, "What does this mean?" "You are the strongest here. Naturally, I will leave the Eight Immortals formation to you." Ding Cheng said matter-of-factly. "We'll do whatever you want us to do. We won't hesitate." "Xiao." Just as Ding Cheng finished speaking, the void suddenly split open. Then, a cultivator flew out from the void. "Dan Guzi." Ningyu reacted quickly. When the cultivator flew out, his figure flashed, and he caught him firmly. "Pucci." At this time, Dan Guzi was pale, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood. His aura instantly dropped to a freezing point. Not good. Although Ningyu didn't know that Dan Guzi had used the art of bloodlust, he was well aware of the condition of Dan Guzi's body. Dan Guzi's situation was extremely bad. It could be said that if he wasn't treated in time, Dan Guzi might very well lose his life. Ningyu didn't care about the consequences. He immediately sent a wisp of his spiritual strength into Dan Guzi's body to heal him. 10 seconds later, Dan Guzi's condition improved a little. His aura had just stabilized when Dan Guzi used all the strength in his body to say, "Ningyu, hurry and leave. If you don't leave now, it'll be too late." "Leave? Go where?" Suddenly, a calm voice rang out from the void. Crack! Then, the void shattered, and Fang Guosheng appeared in front of Ningyu and the others. At this time, Fang Guosheng was floating in the air like a god of war. "Today, all of you must die." As he spoke, Fang Guosheng sent out 3 palm prints. Bang, bang, bang. 3 crisp sounds rang out. Sage, Spiritual Su, Zuokong, and Du Chong were thrown out of the void and fell to the ground at the same time. This change caused Ning Yu's heart to sink to the bottom. Even someone as strong as Sage Spiritual Su had been defeated by Fang Guosheng. One could imagine that even if he used the Eight Immortals formation, he definitely wouldn't be able to contend against Fang Guosheng. Ever since his rebirth, Ningyu had never felt such despair. This kind of despair was incomprehensible to ordinary people. "No, I can't die." With a shudder, Ningyu dispelled the dispirited thoughts in his mind. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged out. Surrendering before a fight was not Ningyu's style. He would rather die in battle than live a fake life. Dashing out, Ningyu wielded the red demon sword and slashed in the air. 10,000 holy flag. Since he had decided to fight Fang Guosheng to the death, Ningyu decided to throw caution to the wind. After he sent out a sword gleam, he sent out the 10,000 holy flag. From the left and right, the sword gleam and the 10,000 holy flag attacked Fang Guosheng. Whoosh! On the ground, Sage Spiritual Su and the others shifted their gaze to Ningyu. Although the chances were slim, they still had a glimmer of hope. The reason why they had a glimmer of hope was because Fang Guosheng was ridiculously strong. They understood the principle that things would decline when they reached an extreme. They firmly believed that Fang Guosheng must have used some kind of secret technique to defeat them so quickly. Perhaps Ningyu could really defeat Fang Guosheng. There was always hope. Without hope, what was the difference between him and a salted fish? Crack! Bang! However, what happened next completely shattered the hopes of Sage, Spiritual Su, and the others. With a crisp sound, Ningyu's sword gleam shattered. The 10,000 holy flag was also sent flying to the other side by Fang Guosheng's slap. Through these 2 moves, Sage, Spiritual Su, and the others concluded that Fang Guosheng did not use any secret technique. The reason why Fang Guosheng could defeat them was because he was truly strong. It's over. I didn't expect to fall in the great Xia Kingdom. Zuokong shook his head and murmured as he looked at Ningyu, who was making his final effort in the air. "Sigh, we were too stupid and underestimated Fang Guosheng," Du Chong said with a sigh. "Watch out, Ningyu!" At this crucial moment, there was a sudden change. The Dark Emperor suddenly tore space apart, and his body grew several times bigger. The purplish-golden wings on his back flapped rapidly, sending a powerful gale towards Fang Guosheng. "You're shameless." Fang Guosheng initially wanted to kill Ningyu, but when he saw the Dark Emperor coming over, he immediately gave up on killing Ningyu and turned to deal with the Dark Emperor. Crack! Crack! Fang Guosheng's attack was ruthless as he twisted his hands and broke the Dark Emperor's wings. Since he was going to use the Dark Emperor to refine elixirs, there was no difference between a dead or a live one. After breaking the Dark Emperor's wings, Fang Guosheng threw it to the side and said to Ningyu, "Ningyu, I never expected an ordinary third-grade sovereign like you to have so many treasures on you. It looks like the force behind you isn't weak. How about we make a deal?" Fang Guosheng said, "You want to make a deal with me?" Ningyu's heart trembled as his eyes rolled, trying to figure out Fang Guosheng's intentions. Soon, Ningyu thought of the crux of the matter. The Eight Immortals Formation. Fang Guosheng must know that the Eight Immortals Formation was sealed in the scroll. He was afraid that Ningyu would destroy the scroll, so he wanted to snatch the scroll before killing Ningyu. "Throw the scroll in your hand over, and I can swear a heavenly oath that I won't kill you." Indeed, Ningyu's guess was right. Chapter 1224. A Mysterious Old Man. "Never go back on my word?" Ningyu looked at Fang Guosheng suspiciously, his face full of distrust. Ningyu knew Fang Guosheng's character very well. Even if he handed over the scroll, Fang Guosheng would definitely kill him. However, Fang Guosheng would not let the matter rest if he did not hand over the scroll. Ningyu was caught in a dilemma. "There's a limit to my patience." Seeing Ningyu's hesitation, Fang Guosheng said in a low voice, "I'll give you 3 more seconds. If you don't hand over the scroll, I promise I'll make sure you die a horrible death." 1. Fang Guosheng extended a finger and cooperated. 2. Then, Fang Guosheng continued. 3. When he said 3, Ningyu gritted his teeth. "Fine, I promise you." "Hee, that's more like it. Hand over the scroll." "I, Fang Guosheng, am a man of my word." With a faint smile, Fang Guosheng repeated what he said earlier. Swoosh! Ningyu knew that dragging it out wouldn't do, so he used all his strength to throw the scroll into the sky. At the same time, Ningyu shouted, "Go, everyone run!" Whoosh! At that moment, Supremacy, Spiritual Sue, and the rest finally understood Ningyu's plan. Regardless of the consequences, all of them exerted all their strength and ran as fast as they could into the distance. Smack! However, Supremacy, Spiritual Sue, and the rest did not run far before they came to an abrupt stop, because an old man had appeared before them. On the surface, the old man looked sloppy and ordinary, but Supremacy, Spiritual Sue, and the rest were all shrewd people, so they naturally noticed something special about him. The old man's strength was even stronger than Fang Guosheng's. Without knowing if the old man was friend or foe, Supremacy, Spiritual Sue, and the rest did not dare to leave. 8 Immortals Formation. Good stuff. The old man's gaze swept across Supremacy, Spiritual Sue, and the rest before landing on Ningyu. Without beating around the bush, the old man said, "Hand it over." Boom! The old man's words caused confusion to appear on the faces of Venerable Spirit Sue and the others. Didn't Ningyu throw the scroll into the sky? Why would the old man say such a thing? Damn it! At this moment, Fang Guosheng angrily descended from the sky. After cursing out loud, Fang Guosheng yelled at Ningyu, "How dare you make fun of me? There's no one in this world." "Who?" Fang Guosheng stopped abruptly halfway through his reprimand. Fang Guosheng discovered the old man and realized how strong the old man was. It could be said that the elder's strength was something that even Fang Guosheng felt was troublesome to deal with. "Let me introduce myself. I'm from Emperor Divine Palace." The old man was very frank. "You can call me Debo, Emperor Divine Palace." Fang Guosheng felt a chill in his heart, and his face became a little ugly. The Emperor Divine Palace was a sect in the Mystic Moon Continent, and it was an overlord sect. Even if he was a senior executive of the Alchemist Union headquarters, he could not behave atrociously in someone else's territory. Although he knew that Debo was powerful, For the sake of the Eight Immortals formation, Fong Guosheng bit the bullet and said, "Since you're an expert from Emperor Divine Palace, you must know the principle of first come, first served. The scroll on Ning Yu should belong to me. Ning Yu belongs to Emperor Divine Palace. Why do you have to say that the scroll on him belongs to you?" Debo curled his lips in disdain. "You'd better leave as soon as possible before I lose my temper. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen." "You're threatening me." Fong Guosheng was so angry that his teeth turned green. He was originally the absolute overlord of this area, but who would have thought that an even more powerful old man would appear out of nowhere and take away the overlord position that belonged to him? This made him very angry. If you really want to think that way, just take it as a threat. Debo obviously did not take Fong Guosheng seriously. He shrugged and said, "Go away. Emperor Divine Palace and Ning, you have a reconcilable hatred. So I have to bring Ning Yu back to Emperor Divine Palace. I'll leave Ning Yu to you, and leave the scroll to me." Fong Guosheng was still struggling for the last time. The Eight Immortals formation was too rare, especially the Eight Immortals formation that was sealed in a scroll. Therefore, Fong Guosheng did not want to give up. "You're not qualified to negotiate with me. If you know what's good for you, get lost. Don't force me to take action." Debo's eyes gradually turned cold. Fong Guosheng had disobeyed him again and again, which made him very angry. What should I do? Fong Guosheng's eyes darted around, trying to think of a solution. The current situation was indeed very disadvantageous to him. With Debo's appearance, it would be very difficult for him to kill Ning Yu, let alone get the scroll. Regret. Fong Guosheng was very regretful at this moment. If he had known this would happen, he would not have wasted his time talking to Ning Yu. He would have killed Ning Yu as soon as possible. Wouldn't that be great? But now, not only was he unable to kill Ning Yu, but he had also lost the scroll that he was about to get. Why don't I fight him? Suddenly, an idea popped into Fong Guosheng's mind. Even Fong Guosheng himself was shocked when he thought of this. Although he was frightened, Fong Guosheng couldn't get rid of this thought in his mind, and it kept lingering in his mind. "Debo, why don't you and I fight? The scroll belongs to the winner." The thought of fighting Debo grew stronger and stronger. It had become a knot in Fong Guosheng's heart. He had to fight Debo no matter what. Otherwise, he would definitely encounter inner demons when he advanced to the advanced stage 9 Supreme Martial Artist. "You want to fight me?" Debo raised his eyebrows and said, "You're no match for me. I advise you to get lost. Once I fight, someone will definitely be injured," or at this point, Debo paused for a moment before he said, "Death." As soon as the word "die" was uttered, Debo stomped on the ground and dashed out. Whoosh! Debo was so fast that before Fong Guosheng could react, he had already appeared beside Fong Guosheng. Not good. At this critical moment, Fong Guosheng gave a loud roar and poured all the Yuan Qi in his knowledge Qi into his fist. With a backhand punch, he met Debo's fist head-on. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two fists collided and the two figures were sent flying. This hurried move caused Fong Guosheng's expression to darken completely. He was no match for Debo in terms of strength. He was clearly at a disadvantage in this punch. "Don't force me to kill you." Debo's eyes were cold as he said in a deep voice. "Humph. You and I are both peak stage 9 Supreme Martial Artists. It won't be easy to kill me." Fong Guosheng snorted and said, "Apart from being a peak stage 9 Supreme Martial Artist, I have another identity. I'm an alchemist." "So what if you're an alchemist? I'll kill you all the same." Debo was furious. He was furious that Fong Guosheng had gone against him time and time again. In this world, there was no lack of people who would court death. In Debo's opinion, Fong Guosheng was one of them. Hee hee. All of a sudden, Fong Guosheng laughed. His laughter was a little arrogant. Chapter 1225. Evil Dragon Valley. "You want to use a soul attack on me?" Debo's jaw dropped as if he had heard something he couldn't believe. "Don't you know that soul attack spells aren't omnipotent? Martial artists with strong perception can even easily break through soul attack spells." "Of course I know that, but I don't believe you can break through soul attack." Fong Guosheng growled and waved his hands. Swoosh! In a split second, a ray of cold light rushed towards Debo at an alarming speed. Soul attack. Next to him, Ning Yu's face darkened. Fang Wuxing's soul attack was something even he was not sure he could block. A soul attack performed by a peak 8th tier soul force is indeed powerful. Ning Yu made up his mind. As long as this crisis was over, he would work hard to cultivate his soul force. Ning Yu's soul force was at early 8th tier soul force. Although it was far stronger than his peers, it was still lacking compared to a veteran like Fang Wuxing. Fang Wuxing, today I will let you know that there are some people you can never mess with. Debo's face was expressionless as he watched the cold light of the soul attack approach him. He spoke indifferently. Swoosh! The moment the voice rang out, Debo took out a silvery white flying sword. Crack! He swung the sword. He raised his hand, and the sword fell. The soul attack was cut in half and scattered on the ground. What? When Fang Guoshang saw that his soul attack had been broken by Debo's sword, his expression finally changed, and he revealed a horrified expression. That was a soul attack. What kind of powerful being was Debo to be able to break it in one move? If Debo was also an alchemist, Fang Guosheng would not be surprised. But Debo's soul force was not strong. Debo's soul attack was broken by his senses alone. He had to admit that Debo was indeed powerful. I gave you face, but you don't want it. Being provoked by Fang Wusheng, Debo was enraged. Debo, who was in a berserk state, quickly dashed out and punched Fang Wusheng's chest repeatedly. In just a few moments, Fang Wusheng's chest had been blasted into tatters, and not a single patch of skin was left intact. Thump! Raising his right leg, Debo kicked Fang Wusheng far away, causing him to fall heavily on the ground. Kacha! The bluestone pavement was smashed by Fang Wusheng, and the cracks spread in all directions. You overestimate yourself. Glancing at the half-dead Fang Wusheng, Debo turned to Ning Yu and said, "Hand over the scroll and follow me to the Emperor Palace." Do I have a choice? Ning Yu still wanted to make a final struggle. Why do you have so much to say? Debo was getting impatient. He stomped on the ground and instantly appeared in front of Ning Yu. A punch landed on Ning Yu's chest, forcing Ning Yu to take several steps back. Looking over, one could see a scroll lying flat in Debo's hand. It really is the 8 Immortals formation. Very good. After taking a closer look at the scroll, Debo grabbed Ning Yu. After thinking for a moment, he knocked out the Dark Emperor and tore through the void, disappearing without a trace. Seeing Ning Yu disappear, Sage, Spiritual Su, and the others had their mouths agape, dumbfounded. Taken away? Ning Yu was taken away under their noses? Everything happened too quickly, so Sage, Spiritual Su, and the others couldn't react for a long time. Sage, Spiritual Su, and the others wanted to help Ning Yu, but they didn't have the strength to do so. After the battle, all of them were heavily injured and urgently needed to recuperate. Sword of Evil. Although the Sword of Evil's aura was weak, he still dragged his feet and flew out of the capital. Where are you going? Sage, Spiritual Su called out to the Sword of Evil. I'm going to help Ning Yu, the Sword of Evil said through gritted teeth. How are you going to help him? Don't worry. I can guarantee that Ning Yu's life won't be in danger for the time being. Sage Spiritual Su said in a low voice. Won't be in danger? Do you know what we did? We killed the genius martial artist of Emperor Palace, D.E. The Sword of Evil said. The Sword of Evil seemed to be narrating a very ordinary matter. What? The speaker didn't mean anything, but the listener did. Reverend Lingshu was extremely shocked. D.E. was the genius of Emperor Palace. Just how capable was Ning Yu to be able to kill D.E.? This is going to be troublesome. Sage Spiritual Su's heart sank to the bottom. Initially, Supremacy Spiritual Su had thought that the Emperor God Palace wouldn't kill Ning Yu so easily with the existence of a colossus like the Sovereign Nine Purities Palace. Now, it seemed like he was wrong. Very wrong. Based on the fact that Ning Yu had killed D.E., Emperor Palace would never let Ning Yu off. Sword of Evil. You won't be able to help Ning Yu even if you go now. Why don't you get rid of Fang Wusheng first and use the elixirs on him to recover to peak condition as soon as possible. Then, we'll go look for Ning Yu together. Sage Spiritual Su was very clear. Instead of looking for Ningyu now, it was better to wait until he recovered to peak condition. That would save him a lot of trouble. All right, the Sword of Evil wasn't stupid. Sage Spiritual Su was very clear, and so was he. The reason why he wanted to help Ningyu just now was because of an impulsive reaction. Now that he thought about it, he indeed needed to recover to peak condition before he could help Ningyu. Otherwise, he would be a burden and would be killed instantly by Emperor Palace. After everyone came to an agreement, Fong Guisheng was in trouble. What are you guys doing? Don't come over. Fong Guisheng regretted it so much that his intestines were turning green. If he had known this would happen, he definitely wouldn't have fought with Debo. Now, not only had he fallen from the clouds to the bottom of the valley, but his life was also in danger. With the current state and anger of the Sword of Evil and the others, it was only a matter of time before he was killed. Sha. Ningyu had no idea what happened after that. After leaving the capital, Debo brought him forward quickly. After flying at full speed for a few hours, Debo finally stopped in front of a valley. What is this place? Staring at the narrow valley entrance, Ningyu was puzzled. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. After glaring at Ningyu, Debo led Ningyu into the valley. Swoosh, swoosh. As soon as Ningyu and the others entered the valley, two figures suddenly appeared and blocked their way. Tell the master of Evil Dragon Valley that someone is here. Obviously, this was not Debo's first time here. He said lightly, "Buzz, buzz." Debo's words were effective. The two figures melted into the void and disappeared. Not long after, a short and stout old man staggered out from the depths of the valley. I can't believe it. Ningyu couldn't help but curse when he saw the short and fat old man. His eyes widened. The reason why Ningyu was surprised was not because the short and fat old man's cultivation was high, but because the short and fat old man's cultivation was too low. Terrifyingly low. Chapter 12:26. A short and fat old man. Debo, what good stuff have you brought for the Valley Master this time? The short and fat old man seemed to know Debo as he spoke before he even reached Debo. I've brought. Debo waved the Dark Emperor in his hand. Sky Devourer Hound. Before Debo could finish his sentence, the short and fat old man yelled, You've finally brought something useful. Give it to me. As he spoke, the short and fat old man reached out his chubby palm to grab the Dark Emperor. Swoosh! How could Debo allow the Dark Emperor to be taken away? He dodged the short and fat old man's palm. I want to see the Evil Dragon Valley Master. Before that, I will not hand the Sky Devourer Hound over to you. Debo said calmly. There's so much nonsense there. The short and fat old man was clearly enraged. He stomped on the ground and charged forward. Although the short and fat old man looked small, he was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Debo Chi. A faint green flame appeared on his palm as the short and fat old man roared and grabbed at Debo. What? Thousand Beasts Flame. Seeing the faint green flame in the short and fat old man's hand, Ningyu's eyes narrowed, and he was extremely shocked. The Thousand Beasts Flame was ranked 30th on the Mystical Flames ranking. Any flame that could enter the top 100 of the Mystical Flames ranking was extremely overbearing and difficult to tame. The short and fat old man was only immortal. How could he tame the 30th ranked flame? The Thousand Beasts Flame? No, it's not the actual Thousand Beasts Flame. It's a derivative. Suddenly, Ningyu's shocked expression eased a little. This was because Ningyu realized that the faint green flame on the short and fat old man's palm was not the actual Thousand Beasts Flame, but a derivative. Even so, Ningyu was still shocked. Even the derivative flame was hundreds of times stronger than his indigo spiritual fire. Stand down. Seeing that the short and fat old man was about to fight with Debo, a calm voice came from the void. Although the voice was calm, it was not angry and had an unquestionable tone. Boring. Hearing this voice, the short and fat old man curled his lips, then turned around and walked towards the depths of the valley. Evil Dragon Valley Master, why didn't you show yourself? Debo said with a solemn expression. Purple gold sky, devouring hound. This is the 10th treasure you brought. I will definitely fulfill my promise to you. Go to the guest room and wait for a while. Once I'm done with the matters at hand, I'll come see you immediately. The voice dissipated, and everything returned to normal. Debo did not stay for long. He dragged Ningyu with one hand and leaned on the Dark Emperor with the other, walking towards the guest room with ease. Creak! The heavy stone door was pushed open, and Debo entered the room. Casually throwing Ningyu and the Dark Emperor to the side, Debo sat on the chair and fell into a strange state. What kind of deal did Debo make with his so-called evil Dragon Valley master? Ningyu slightly released his perception, first stopping on Debo's body for a while, and then began to size up the secret room. Although it was called a secret room, it was actually just a room that wasn't too big. The structure of the room was simple. There was only a chair, a table, and nothing else. Kid, do you want to know what kind of deal Debo made with the evil Dragon Valley master? Throw that black dog out, and I can tell you. At this moment, an ethereal voice rang in Ningyu's ears. The ethereal voice that rang in his ears caused Ningyu's pupils to shrink. This voice was too illusory, and even he didn't notice any clues. Who is it? Ningyu asked in a deep voice. I'm that tall, handsome person you saw just now. The ethereal voice said unceasingly. Clearly, this was a narcissistic person. Tall, handsome. Ningyu was a little confused. He subconsciously said, just now, I only saw a short and fat old man trying to snatch the Dark Emperor from Debo. However, he was chased away by the evil Dragon Valley master. Outside the room, the short and fat martial artist's face was filled with black lines. Although the short and fat martial artist was ugly, he had dreams. Wasn't it said that people with dreams were the most handsome? Moreover, in the evil dragon clan, his height and build were indeed worthy of the word handsome. Don't worry about anything else. Just remember, as long as you throw that black dog out, I will let you go. The short and fat old man began to tempt him, using both the carrot and the stick. Let me give you a friendly reminder. In the past, Debo came to Evil Dragon Valley a total of 9 times. He brought martial artists, magical treasures, elixirs, fruits, and a series of other things. Without exception, all of those things were taken by the Valley Master. What kind of deal did Debo make with the evil Dragon Valley Master? Ningyu felt that the short and fat old man knew something. In fact, Ningyu knew very well that the person speaking outside the room was the short and fat old man. Ningyu was not a fool. How did he not know? It's simple. Debo brought 10 good things, and the evil Dragon Valley Master helped him to raise his cultivation to the advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist. The short and fat old man shrugged and said, What? The speaker did not mean anything, but the listener did. Ningyu's face was full of shock. If the evil Dragon Valley Master could help Debo to advance to the advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist, didn't that mean that the evil Dragon Valley Master's cultivation far surpassed that of a supreme martial artist? He might even have reached the terrifying Earth's supreme martial artist realm. Ningyu almost despaired. With his current strength, he could not even fight against the intermediate 9th grade supreme martial artist, let alone an Earth supreme martial artist. What's the big deal? Isn't it just an advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist? As long as you throw that black dog out, I can also help you advance to the advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist realm. The short and fat old man began to boast, displaying the great deception technique. Oh, right. Can't Debo hear our conversation? Although Debo was in a strange state, Ningyu was still very worried. What are you afraid of? With me here, not only Debo can't hear our conversation, but even the evil Valley Master can't hear it. The short and fat old man said proudly. That short and fat old man seems to have a grudge against the evil Dragon Valley Master. Ningyu's sharp senses had deduced some clues from the short and fat old man's words. The short and fat old man most likely had a grudge against the evil Dragon Valley Master. Even if there was no grudge, he would definitely not like the evil Dragon Valley Master. Maybe I could find a breakthrough from the short and fat old man. Thinking of this, Ningyu said calmly, I would like to throw the black dog to you, but with Debo beside me, I dare not act rashly. After saying this, Ningyu said no more, quietly waiting for the short and fat old man's reply. The short and fat old man was silent for a while. After a while, the short and fat old man said, Stop breathing first. I will inject a special gas into the room. As long as Debo swallows it, he will fall into a deep sleep, and then you can throw the black dog out. I still can't. Ningyu shook his head. What now? The short and fat old man was almost going crazy. Because I can't break the door of the secret room. Chapter 12:27. A strategy that's easy. Once Debo falls asleep, a whirlpool will appear in front of you. All you need to do is toss that black dog into the whirlpool. The short elder answered. That easy? Ningyu asked suspiciously. Of course. Don't worry, I'll do it. The short elder said proudly. Still not enough. Ningyu said after a moment of silence. I want to kill Debo. When the old man heard Ningyu's words, he couldn't wait to rush forward and kill him. However, for the sake of the Dark Emperor, he had to suppress his anger and asked patiently, What is it now? I want to go out too. Ningyu voiced his thoughts. This was the best chance to escape. If he missed this opportunity, Ningyu did not want to miss it. Moreover, the short elder was weaker. If he stayed with him, Ningyu would have a chance to escape. Whether it was the evil Dragon Valley Master or Debo, Ningyu could not fight against them. No, this is not negotiable. The short elder rejected flatly. What a joke. The evil Dragon Valley Master hated it when others touched his things. If the evil Dragon Valley Master knew about this, the consequences would be unimaginable. Forget it. Just leave. I thought there was someone who was not afraid of the evil Dragon Valley Master's power. Who would have thought I would meet a coward like you? Ningyu purposely provoked the short elder. Who are you calling a coward? Sure enough, Ningyu's goading worked to a certain extent. As soon as he finished speaking, the short elder shouted, Although I am no match for the evil Dragon Valley Master in martial arts, I am miles ahead of him in alchemy. I'm talking about you. Ningyu ignored the second half of the short elder's words and said disdainfully, The Dark Emperor and I are only imprisoned by Debo. We are not the evil Dragon Valley Master yet. You don't even dare to provoke Debo, let alone the evil Dragon Valley Master. I'm so angry. The short and stout elder was so angry that his whole body was trembling. What he hated the most was being compared to the evil Dragon Valley Master. Due to various reasons, he was unable to cultivate the martial way, but his attainments in alchemy were extremely heaven-defying. The evil Dragon Valley Master was the exact opposite. The evil Dragon Valley Master's martial prowess was formidable, but his alchemy attainments were frighteningly low. Hurry up and leave. When the evil Dragon Valley Master arrives, you will definitely suffer. Ningyu continued to provoke him, hoping that it would play a crucial role. Outside the secret chamber, there was another period of silence. What's going on? Could it be that he had used too much provocation? That short and fat old man really left. Ningyu frowned and murmured, If I had known, I wouldn't have provoked him so much. Ningyu felt a little regretful. The short and stout old man was the only way for him to leave this damned place. If the short and stout old man left, he would have to face endless disasters. All right, I promise you. After a few more minutes, just as Ningyu was about to be disappointed, a cold voice rang in his mind. The short and stout old man. After a few minutes of contemplation, the short and stout old man finally made up his mind to take the risk and bring Ningyu and the black dog away. If worst comes to worst, he would leave the evil Dragon Valley first. As long as he used the sky-devouring hound to refine elixirs, his martial prowess would definitely soar. Coupled with his alchemy attainments, it was only a matter of time before his cultivation reached a high-level human supreme. Hold your breath. Later, you and the black dog will enter the whirlpool together. The short and stout old man was not an indecisive person. Since he had already made his decision, he would definitely carry it out. With a low grunt, the short and stout old man flicked his sleeves. In a split second, a stream of gas passed through the secret chamber's door and headed straight for Debo. Debo was indeed a peak mid-stage ninth-grade human supreme. As soon as the gas entered the secret chamber, he opened his eyes and bellowed. "Which scoundrel is it? Show yourself at once." Ah. When Debo opened his mouth, something unexpected happened. Another stream of gas passed through the secret chamber's door and entered his mouth when he was unprepared. Huh. Debo's first impression was that it was hot, and the second was that it was extremely hot. The heat made Debo feel like he was about to go crazy. Debo's combat strength has dropped. I might as well kill him first. With a cold glint in his eyes, Ningyu immediately drew out the red demon sword and slashed at Debo. Ningyu would definitely seize such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Buzz. However, just as Ningyu took half a step forward, a whirlpool appeared in front of him. Along with the whirlpool, the short and stout old man's anxious voice sounded. "You only have 1 second. Hurry up and bring the black dog into the whirlpool." The short and stout old man's voice was filled with anxiety as he urged. "In 1 second, the whirlpool will shatter. Why didn't you say so earlier?" Ningyu, who was in the midst of running, cursed when he heard the short and stout old man's anxious words. 1 second was not enough for him to kill Debo. Although Debo was affected by the gas, he still had the combat strength of a ninth-grade human supreme. You lucked out. After glaring at Debo helplessly, Ningyu grabbed the Dark Emperor and disappeared into the whirlpool. Whoosh! Everything ended as quickly as it came. However, if Ningyu was here, he would definitely notice that Debo's reaction was a little unusual. There was no anger or anger on Debo's face. In fact, Debo's lips even curled up, as if he was relieved of a heavy burden. Crack! Not long after, the space in the secret chamber cracked open again, and an old man who was even shorter and fatter than the short and stout old man appeared. "Evil Dragon Valley Master, I've followed your instructions." Seeing the sudden appearance of the old man, Debo said respectfully, "You promised me that as long as I followed your instructions, you would help me advance to the late-stage ninth-grade human supreme. Don't worry. Once the elixir is refined, I'll immediately fulfill my promise." When will the short and stout old man be able to refine the elixir? Debo asked, feeling a little uneasy. "I'm not too certain about the details. However, I believe that with his pill refinement level, it is likely that he will be able to refine a medicinal pill using the heaven-swallowing dog in 3 days at the very least and 1 day at the very fastest." The evil Dragon Valley's chief shook his head and said, "I brought back the purple golden sky, devouring hound. I want 2 elixirs when the elixir is ready." Debo said, "He too it is. With his alchemy skills, he can at least refine 10 elixirs in 1 cauldron. What's the harm in giving you 2? The evil Dragon Valley Master said with a smile. Achoo! At the same time, in a forest to the west of the evil Dragon Valley, the short and stout old man sneezed and said, "Kid, stop here. I'm going to start refining elixirs." Refining elixirs? Here? Ningyu was dumbfounded. Even refining elixirs required a quiet place. This place was surrounded by trees and beasts. To think that the short and stout old man would think of refining elixirs here. Dong! Without replying to Ningyu, the short and stout old man stomped his right foot on the ground. Rumble! Chapter 1228. Chapter 1228. Heart of 10,000 Beasts. Ningyu was in a daze as he stared at the ground that had suddenly caved in. No wonder the old man had wanted to stop here. He had been prepared for this. Let's go! Just as Ningyu was in a daze, the old man grabbed Ningyu with one hand and the Dark Emperor with the other before leaping into the crack in the ground. Rumble! As soon as the old man and the others entered the ground, the crack closed up and everything returned to normal. Underground, Ningyu stood in front of the huge palace with his mouth agape. His face was filled with disbelief. What shocked Ningyu was not the palace, but the 2 huge stone pillars on both sides of the palace. At the top of each pillar, there was a ball of fire burning. 10,000 beast flame. These two green flames were similar to the flames on the old man's body. They were all derivatives of the 10,000 beast flame. Although they were only derivatives of the 10,000 beast flame, they were more powerful than most flames. It could be said that the flames ranked after 100 on the mystic flames list were not as powerful as these two 10,000 beast flame derivatives. You want them? The short and fat old man noticed Ningyu's actions and said calmly, "As long as you help me with one thing, I will give you these two 10,000 beast flame derivatives." "What is it?" Ningyu did not agree to the old man's request immediately. "Help me get the real 10,000 beast flame." After saying that, the old man pushed open the door of the palace and strode in. Thump! Hearing the old man's words, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. The real 10,000 beast flame. Each of the top 30 flames on the Mystic Flames list was extremely terrifying. Under normal circumstances, with the old man's strength, there was no way he could come into contact with the 10,000 beast flame. Could it be? At this thought, Ningyu's face heated up. In his previous life, Ningyu had investigated the flames on the Mystic Flames list and found that some of them were extremely unique. After a certain period of time, they would enter a period of weakness, and this period of weakness was the best time to capture them. Think of a way to get the myriad beast flame. Clenching his fists tightly, Ningyu made up his mind to obtain the 10,000 beast flame no matter what. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu followed the stumpy old man into the palace. F***CK. As soon as he entered the palace, Ningyu was dumbfounded. The palace was as empty as a field. No, to be precise, there were only two things in the palace. A huge pill furnace floated in midair. Beside the pill furnace was a green flame. Because it was burning too fiercely, it emitted crackling sounds. Ningyu's gaze was fixated on the huge pill furnace. The green flame was naturally the 10,000 beast flame. As for the gigantic cauldron, it was ranked 30th on the heavenly cauldron list, the Nihility Cauldron. Since his rebirth, Ningyu had never seen the top 100 of the exotic flame list or the top 100 of the pill furnace list. Who would have thought that in just a few hours he would see the 10,000 beast flame, as well as the Nihility pill furnace? "Come here." Just as Ningyu was in a daze, the stumpy old man shouted. Swoosh! As the stumpy old man's voice rang out, the Nihility pill furnace shrank and landed on the stumpy old man's right palm. Nihility pill furnace, purple gold sky, devouring hound. Large amounts of medicinal ingredients. The stumpy old man gently stroked the Nihility pill furnace and said, "As long as I can obtain the real 10,000 beast flame, I can refine an extremely overbearing elixir. Kid, I just said that if you help me obtain the 10,000 beast flame, I will give you the derivative outside." The corners of the stumpy old man's mouth curled up. "Now, your chance is here." "What chance?" Ningyu asked calmly. To be honest, even if the stumpy old man did not emit any yuan qi, Ningyu would not have dared to attack him, because Ningyu could not find any flaws in the stumpy old man. An alchemist without any fluctuation of true qi actually had no flaws on his body, which was enough to show how terrifying he was. A good chance. The stumpy old man dragged the Nihility pill furnace with his right hand and threw it. Swoosh! The Nihility pill furnace turned into a blur and shot straight at the 10,000 beast flame. Roar! When the Nihility pill furnace collided with the 10,000 beast flame, an earth-shattering roar came from within. Roar, roar, roar. After the first roar, a second, a third, several roars rang out in unison. For a moment, the entire palace shook from the roars. The roars did not affect the stumpy old man. On the contrary, he was overjoyed and said to Ningyu, "Go and retrieve the 10,000 beast flame core from within the 10,000 beast flame." There was only one way to completely control the 10,000 beast flame, and that was to swallow the 10,000 beast flame core. Whoever swallowed the 10,000 beast flame core would be able to control the 10,000 beast flame. All right, Ningyu did not care about the consequences. He leaped into the air and dashed toward the 10,000 beast flame. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ningyu must seize it. I must swallow the 10,000 beast flame core. Although he did not know why the stumpy old man would ask him to retrieve the 10,000 beast flame core, Ningyu could not care less at this point in time. Swallow the 10,000 beast flame core and control the 10,000 beast flame. Once he gained control of the 10,000 beast flame, he would stand a good chance of contending against the stumpy old man. From the way the stumpy old man threw the nihility pill furnace, Ningyu could roughly estimate the old man's battle prowess. Powerful, extremely powerful. It was not that the stumpy old man did not have any yuan qi in his body, but it was sealed. Relying on the strength of his 9th grade soul force, the stumpy old man's mastery of soul attack spells had already reached the pinnacle. Ningyu speculated that if he wanted to defeat the stumpy old man, he would have to cultivate the netherworld samsara palm to the 10th form. This method was obviously not feasible. Roar! At this moment, Ningyu had already arrived in front of the 10,000 beast flame. A giant beast formed from flames roared and attacked Ningyu. Slash! With the red demon's sword in hand, Ningyu slashed down from the sky. With one slash, the giant beast formed from flames was split into two, and Ningyu desperately tried to enter the 10,000 beast flame. Roar! 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 The 10,000 beast flame had a strong sense of self-preservation. How could it tolerate a mere 3rd grade human supreme behaving atrociously in front of it? Another 3 giant beasts formed from flames rushed out and engaged in a fierce battle with Ningyu. Comparatively speaking, these 3 giant beasts were much stronger. After a full 3 minutes, Ningyu finally defeated all of them. Kid, hurry up and enter the 10,000 beast flame and retrieve the 10,000 beast flame core. Otherwise, I will kill this purple gold sky devouring hound. The stumpy old man started to panic and started to threaten Ningyu with the Dark Emperor. Originally, the stumpy old man thought that Ningyu was just an ordinary 3rd grade human supreme, and his strength could not be that strong. But now, the stumpy old man changed his mind. Ningyu was too strong. Ningyu's strength was not a good thing for the stumpy old man. When he retrieves the 10,000 beast flame core, I will kill him. The stumpy old man did not want to complicate matters. If not for the fact that he could not enter the 10,000 beast flame, Ningyu would have been killed along the way and would not have survived until now. Chapter 1229. Suppress, devour the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts and control the flames of 10,000 beasts. Using the purple gold sky devouring hound as the main ingredient and the emptiness cauldron as the foundation, you can refine the required elixir. The short and fat old man was extremely excited. Things were developing in a direction that he could control. The stout old man was not afraid of Ningyu swallowing the 10,000 beast flaming heart, because if an ordinary martial artist swallowed the 10,000 beast flaming heart, there would only be one result, and that was exploding and dying. In order to devour the myriad beasts' flaming heart, one must fulfill 2 conditions. First, one's soul force must be very strong. Second, the myriad beasts' flaming pill. Devouring the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart, no matter how strong one's soul energy was, without the assistance of the 10,000 beasts' flaming pill, whoever devoured the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart would be finished. Therefore, the short and stout elder was very confident in Ningyu. The 10,000 beasts flame pill was a grade 9 medicinal pill. He had spent a lot of effort to get his hands on it. It was impossible for Ningyu to have the 10,000 beasts flame pill. Get lost. In fact, Ningyu would have sped up even without the short and stout old man's urging. The myriad beast flame was ranked 30th on the mystic flame list. Not only could it increase the speed and success rate of pill concoction, it could also be used against enemies. According to Ningyu's guess, if he could control the myriad beast flame, he could even confront and kill an initial phase 9th grade sovereign. Chi-Chi, the red demon sword slashed at the bodies of the gigantic beasts, blasting away the dozens of gigantic beasts in front of the 1,000-beast flame. As for Ningyu, he tore through the void and dived into the 10,000-beast flame. As soon as he entered the 10,000-beast flame, Ningyu's face turned deathly pale. Huh! The 10,000-beast flame was ranked 30th on the Mystic Flame list. The temperature inside, it was frighteningly high. Even if Ningyu used all his essence chi, he was unable to withstand the scorching impact. 3 minutes. Ningyu knew his body's condition very well. Even if he gave it his all, he could only last 3 minutes inside the 10,000-beast flame. In other words, he would have to leave the 10,000-beast flame in 3 minutes. If you don't leave, you'll be roasted. Where's the blazing heart of all beasts? Ningyu exerted a little of his perception and walked forward step by step. At this time, it might not be appropriate to describe Ningyu as walking. Move. Moving was the most appropriate word to describe Ningyu. Ningyu's speed was very slow, so slow that it was terrifying. He was no different from a snail. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, a minute passed. Bean-sized beads of sweat dripped from Ningyu's forehead. Chi-chi. Before his sweat could fall, it was evaporated by the scorching heat. It's the blazing heart of all beasts not inside. Ningyu used his perception to probe the interior of the 10,000-beast flame with great difficulty. After a while, a thought suddenly popped into his mind. The 10,000-beast flaming core was the main flame of the 10,000-beast flame. Its core temperature was terrifyingly high. Right now, the temperature inside the 10,000-beast flame was surprisingly uniform. There was no place that was hot or cold. Old man, there's no blazing heart of all beasts here. Ningyu asked if he didn't understand. He didn't want to waste his time here. Shouting, Ningyu said, I'll give you 3 seconds to think. Otherwise, I'll leave the 10,000-beast flame immediately. There's no blazing heart of all beasts? The old man was slightly taken aback. Then his face turned ugly. I've been tricked. The old man was furious. He had learned about the 10,000-beast flame in this palace from Sheepskin Scroll. He had found the Sheepskin Scroll in one of the caves. The Sheepskin Scroll was obviously old. There was no reason for someone to play a prank on it. What's going on? The short and fat old man glared at him anxiously. If there was no blazing heart of all beasts inside the 10,000-beast flame, then his plan today would be for naught. Search again. The 10,000-beast flame must be inside. I can guarantee it. The short and stout old man said in a deep voice. You can release your soul power and carefully examine it. My soul power is too weak. It's only early stage, grade 8. I'm afraid it will burn me, Ningyu replied. Ningyu wouldn't use his soul power. Given the current situation, he couldn't even use his perception, let alone his soul power. If you don't use your soul power to search, I'll kill this black dog right now. The old man was smart. He used the Dark Emperor to threaten Ningyu. Swoosh. Helpless. Ningyu could only use his soul power to search carefully. Sure enough, just as Ningyu expected, when his soul force left his body, it began to rapidly weaken. The 10,000-beast flame had a terrifying effect on souls. Found it. When the second minute passed, Ningyu's face was filled with ecstasy. Not far in front of him, a fist-sized golden flame floated in the air. The 10,000-beast flame was green. The 10,000-beast flame core was gold. What's going on? Did you find the 10,000-beast flame core? Inside the hall, the old man kept an eye on Ningyu's movements. As his soul power was unusually strong, the old man could see Ningyu suddenly stop. I don't know if this is the 10,000-beast flame core, Ningyu said calmly. What color is it? The old man asked hurriedly. Gold. Ningyu said the size of a fist. It is the 10,000-beast flame core. The old man was ecstatic. Quick, take it out. I want to devour it. The old man was excited. With the 10,000-beast flame core, he could control the 10,000-beast flame. As long as he could control the 10,000-beast flame, he could use the Nihility Pill Furnace to refine elixirs. Thinking of this, the short and fat old man was a little excited, revealing an excited expression. Are you kidding me? Ningyu said, the 10,000 beast flame core's temperature is frightening. How do I take it out? That's a problem. The old man fell into deep thought. Ningyu did not have the 10,000 beast flame core. There was no way he could get close to the 10,000 beast flame core. Under this premise, Ningyu could not bring the 10,000 beast flame core out. He had been too careless. After a moment, the old man said, how about this? I will throw the Nihility Cauldron into the 10,000 beast flame. You use the Nihility Cauldron to store the 10,000 beast flame core. No problem. Ningyu raised an eyebrow. Go. The old man flicked his wrist and threw the Nihility Cauldron. The Nihility Cauldron was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived inside the 10,000 beast flame. Devour. Inside the 10,000 beast flame, Ningyu made a crazy move. He released all of his Yuan Qi and soul power, wrapping them around the flaming heart of 10,000 beasts and swallowing it. Puchi. As soon as the 10,000 beast flame core entered Ningyu's mouth, Ningyu vomited a mouthful of blood. Suppress. At this critical moment, Ningyu began to communicate with the law of space. The law of space had a special ability. It could isolate space. Ningyu wanted to use the law of space to isolate the 10,000 beast flame core. Chapter 1230. Attempt to control rumble. The law of space did not disappoint Ningyu. In Ningyu's sea of consciousness, the law of space isolated a small area, and the 10,000 beast flaming heart was inside. Phew! Ningyu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the law of space trapping the 10,000 beast's flaming heart. Ningyu knew that this was not the right time to study the 10,000 beast's flaming heart. He spat out another mouthful of blood and said anxiously, hurry up, I can't hold on any longer. The reason why Ningyu said this was to dispel the concerns in the short and stout old man's heart. After all, his previous actions had almost been discovered by the old man, and he needed to divert the old man's attention. Hold on for 3 more seconds. Ningyu's decision proved to be a wise one. The old man's attention was completely attracted. Terrifying soul fluctuations rushed out of his body and pushed the elixir cauldron into the 10,000 beast's flaming heart. Quick, throw the 10,000 beast's flaming heart into the cauldron. The old man shouted, his eyes burning. I'll give you a fake 10,000 beast's flaming heart. The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled up. He grabbed a ball of flame and used a secret technique to turn it golden. Then, Ningyu threw the fake 10,000 beast's flaming heart into the elixir cauldron. In order to convince the old man, Ningyu even burned his right hand, making it look like he had suffered a serious injury. Chi! As soon as Ningyu threw the fake 10,000 beast's flaming heart into the cauldron shot out of the 10,000 beast's flaming heart. Swoosh! Ningyu did not dare to be slow. He followed the elixir cauldron out of the 10,000 beast's flaming heart. After coming out of the 10,000 beast's flaming heart, Ningyu looked relieved. I'm finally out. The temperature inside the 10,000 beast's flaming heart was too high. Ningyu could imagine that if he stayed for another 3 minutes, no, 1 minute, he would turn into a puddle of water. Fortunately, I have an Nihility pill furnace. At this moment, Ningyu even began to thank the nothingness pill furnace. Without the Nihility pill furnace, the short and stout old man would never allow him to leave the 10,000 beast flame. The temperature inside the 10,000 beast flame was extremely high. If they stayed any longer, they would be roasted alive. Ha! Beside him, the short and stout old man grabbed the nothingness pill furnace, his face filled with ecstasy. Blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. After much effort, he finally obtained the 10,000 beast flaming heart. I have the 10,000 beast flame, Dan. I will swallow the 10,000 beast flame heart now. The short and fat old man did not want to wait any longer. He desperately wanted to devour the 10,000 beast flame heart and control the 10,000 beast flame. As long as he could control the 10,000 beast flame, he would be able to refine pills. At the thought of using the purple gold heaven-devouring hound to refine pills, the short and fat elder became very excited. All right. Suddenly, the short and fat old man calmed down. He turned to Ningyu and said, "Your mission is complete." "Mission completed? What do you mean?" Ningyu was slightly taken aback and asked doubtfully. "It's simple. You could die now." The short and fat old man said lightly, "You want to kill me after I'm done with the grinding?" Ningyu's face darkened, and he said angrily, "I did not hesitate to burn my life force to help you obtain the 10,000 beasts flame heart. Not only did you not give me any benefits, you even want to kill me. Hee hee, this is a world where the strong prey on the weak. You are weak, so it's only natural for me to kill you." With a faint smile, the short and fat old man continued, "If I was weaker than you, the one who would be killed would definitely be me. Can we discuss this? For example, you can refine pills, and I can be your assistant." Ningyu quickly calmed down and said, "A grade 9 pill was extremely difficult to refine. Even if the short and fat old man had the nothingness pill furnace and could control the 10,000 beast flame, he definitely did not have absolute confidence in refining a grade 9 pill." Ningyu began to recommend himself and said, "I am an 8th grade early stage alchemist. My soul strength is only 1 grade lower than yours. I can help you refine some of the herbs. You should know that a grade 9 pill is very difficult to refine. Without help, it will be difficult for you to refine it." Ningyu began to try to persuade the short and fat old man step by step. "Now that you mention it, it seems to be the case." Ningyu's words had a certain effect. After a moment of silence, the short and fat old man said, "I will spare your life for now. If you can help me refine a grade 9 pill, not only will I not kill you, but I will also accept you as my disciple." "No problem. I will definitely do my best." Ningyu felt as if he had been granted amnesty and hurriedly said, "All right, go and rest first. If there is a need, I will call you." Waving his hand, the short and fat old man then separated a bit of soul strength into the nothingness pill furnace and took out the golden flame that Ningyu had thrown in. Blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. The short and fat old man's face turned pale. He immediately sat cross-legged on the ground. Strands of yuan qi flowed down his arm and into the nothingness pill furnace. "Come out." The yuan qi moved back and forth in the nothingness pill furnace and soon found the location of the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Swish! As the short and fat old man shouted, the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts flew out of the nothingness pill furnace and floated above the short and fat old man's head. Crack! In order to refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, the short and fat old man directly took out the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts and threw it into his mouth to chew. The blazing heart of 10,000 beasts was specially refined to devour the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Its effect was a bit simple. It could only assist in devouring the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts and did not have any substantial effect. The pill shattered, and a powerful energy wave shuttled back and forth in the short and fat old man's sea of consciousness. Quick, try to speed up. When you devour the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, it will be the time of your death. Ningyu did not follow the short and fat old man's intention to rest. After all, he was not injured in the first place. He was only pretending to be injured to stay. Now that he had stayed, it would be too unreasonable to continue pretending. Swallow it. The short and fat old man did not know what Ningyu was thinking. After refining the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, he opened his mouth and swallowed the fake blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Swallowing the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Even though Ningyu was prepared, he was still shocked. Gulp! After swallowing the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, the short and fat old man's stomach grumbled, as if it was still not full. "I will need about half an hour to completely refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts." The short and fat old man was very satisfied. The blazing heart of 10,000 beasts was said to be miraculous in the outside world. Originally, the short and fat old man thought that he would need at least 3 to 4 hours to refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Who would have thought that he could refine it in half an hour? Wasn't it said that the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts was extremely difficult to refine? Why was he able to refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts in half an hour? Maybe the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts is very effective. This was the only explanation that made sense. Otherwise, with his strength, there was no way he could refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts so quickly. You'll cry later. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.